Earth 2020. Society is in ruins, and a virus runs rampant among the world's humble citizens. They are lost. In these dark times, three wayward nerds cross paths at the House of India and realize they are destined to be friends. And so they did. This is their story. The story of The Side Quest.
Welcome everybody to the Side Quest podcast, Star Wars
The
special.
Star Wars. May the 4th be with you.
So we are recording,
And also with you.
Thank
and
you.
with you. We're recording a big one. This might possibly, depending on the time we have, might be a two-parter, might be a three. We don't know yet, but we decided. You know, what better way to ring in Star Wars
And to bring together a community.
Then-
By doing a trilogy of brackets.
So yeah, we love doing the brackets for the best game.
Not
the
only
games
are
of the
our
year.
feelings going to get hurt, your feelings are going to get
for
hurt.
sure, people are
Their
gonna,
feelings are going to get way more hurt than ours are.
It's
I feel
true.
like we can look at each other and go, "That's a stupid opinion," but like, I still care about you. The internet's gonna look at us and go, "Oh, you're all
You guys
fucking."
are fucking idiots. Ewoks was bad.
So yeah,
Dude, Ewoks is going to the top.
Ewoks is going very far. I'm just preparing you all now.
So we got 3 different tournament brackets. We got Star Wars movies, Star Wars shows, and Star Wars games.
so there are some caveats in some of these. We did have to kind of like, okay, we'll put this one in movies versus this one in shows.
Like movies and shows, we're not including like the weird kid ones or like the Lego Star Wars movies
Pretty much the ones that
The ones
matter.
that we have experienced mostly.
and that matter.
Because like I think even like I mentioned Resistance when we were making the list, and like none of us have seen it, and also I don't think it's. I mean, it's canon, but like it never went anywhere.
Yeah.
So like I don't think it matters in the long run. So we're not talking about that one. The games we split them up into series, so we're not gonna like have like Battlefront 1 versus
Force
Battlefront
Unleashed
2
versus Force
Yeah.
Unleashed 1.
Yeah.
So it's just the Force Unleashed games, the OG
We did
Battlefront,
separate
EA Battlefront.
OG versus EA, and then we have a bunch of. There's a lot. I didn't realize how many like flight simulator games there were.
So we
I mean, that was the real first Star Wars game, that like wire grid, like TIE fighter game,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So
yeah, there's a lot here, and already looking at some of these matchups, it's gonna be a good one.
well, the first bracket we're doing are movies.
I want to before we go too far and just get right into the brackets.
Yeah.
Realistically though, like what Star Wars, like it's been
Yes.
going for years. It's been all this stuff. Like,
Well, when did the first movie came out? Like
70s?
70,
Like
74?
My dad was a kid.
Yeah, like and it was like a cultural phenomenon because like no one had seen anything at that time.
And
Like,
the next one came out like 2 years later, and then the last one came out like 3 years later,
Yeah.
and people were like
it was like a moment.
crazy
Yeah,
for
that
it.
was a moment in time. Like I don't think.
It changed pop culture.
Well, I think
Especially, I think like having a society go through the oh shit realization that Darth Vader was Luke's dad. It was
apparently like nobody on set knew. Even Mark Hamill didn't know. Did he find out in the theater?
I know I've seen a picture where it's him and Carrie Fisher being told by George Lucas for the first time, and they're freaking the fuck out. So I think it was like a
'Cause I know-
on the day
Because I know Mark Hamill had said that he was told it was like Obi-Wan's your father, and that's why he was like, or no, like that's impossible. You killed, or like the you killed him.
I think
thing.
maybe what I'm thinking of is that they're brother and sister.
That's probably it. Yeah.
That is probably it. But it was just, I think, like, other than, I mean, it kind of, for me, is reminiscent of how, like, a bunch of people watch Game of Thrones and together as a group of, like, fans got to experience crazy shit all together.
I think the modern take of that, at least when it comes to like the movies being like, oh shit, was Avengers. Because you go from like, here's superhero movies, let me get Avengers, and then it's like, there's a continuous plot we're seeing, and then Infinity, like, I remember being in the theater, Infinity War, and then just the credits roll. After the snap, people die, and you're like, what the fuck, and just credits roll, no post-credit, done.
Yeah. I
And-
mean, it's
and,
that,
like, the
same thing of, like, when
hype-
in the next one where everyone's freaking the fuck out when, like on your left.
Dude,
Yeah.
I remember I was at a screen, like that was my first time. I was sitting by a family who had seen the movie already 3 times before. And like the dude beside me was like, and I was like, what the fuck? And then like I saw the portals. I freaked the fuck out. This guy next to me who's seen this 3 times was like, fuck! Everything.
Yeah.
And like I can only imagine like that moment when Luke and Vader are fighting on the Death Star? Yeah.
Death Star?
Well, like,
Death Star?
what was it? Because I know they weren't on Endor, right? It was the throne room on the Death Star, right?
Which one are you?
'cause
Yeah,
they
Return of the
started
Jedi.
down on Endor and then
Yeah.
they shoved
Okay.
him up to be in front of the Emperor.
Because that scene and like the fucking moment where Luke's like wailing on his, like just fucking him, like full
Yeah.
on raw
dog. And
dog
fucking
in the
his
man.
dad.
Fucking his dad. And then like he sees like he cuts his arm off, sees like the metal and wires, and he's like, oh shit. And then it's like that realization, it's like I'm not giving into that dark side. I'm not doing that. Like that fight scene, that moment,
I mean, it was
powerful.
perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, I'm not saying like obviously there's gonna be so much discussion
Yeah.
about stuff, and even though we'll get to in a little bit.
We
where
have, like,
it's-
our own
where it stands.
opinions, yeah.
But it almost is the perfect movie. Like,
To me, the perfect movie in all of Star Wars is Empire. There's not a second of that movie where I'm like, it's
oh, Empire's incredible, but I'm just saying like the
Well, yeah.
fact like of how it's laid out
Yes.
is almost is practically a perfect movie. With even at the very end of Luke saving his father, it's like all these things. You're like, oh my gosh, he did it! And he saved his father. He turned him back to the light
we're
side.
we're gonna get to that. Have you
Yes.
guys? And especially
So
this first bit.
I think the best way we do this is
just go through it.
Let's just jump right in. So
we're doing movies first.
movies first. We already wrote out the brackets. So round 1, baby, we got Episode 8 versus Episode 9. So The Last Jedi versus The Rise of Skywalker.
So there's 2 things I have to say about each of these movies.
So garbage.
They're both terrible. One is, I think, in terms of sitting down and watching a movie.
Even
I'd
sitting
take
here now,
7.
I don't know which one is which.
Last Jedi is the Ryan
middle one?
Johnson, the middle one.
Okay.
Rise of Skywalker is the somehow Palpatine returned and
with
they did all that shit.
with a legion of
of Death Star
I-
Star Destroyers.
I at
So-
least had fun watching that one, so
So-
that one wins.
For me, Rise of Skywalker wins on the principle. I think it's a worse movie, but it wins on the principle that it didn't character assassinate Luke Skywalker. Last Jedi fucked his character raw.
It's true,
and I hate it.
And Last Jedi doesn't have the worst scene in all of Star Wars with
Superwoman
Carrie
Leia,
Fisher
yeah.
using her Jedi powers all of a sudden to bring herself from airless space to not getting
yeah.
her lungs just immediately collapsed and dying instantly
the one thing that I
to
will,
then just floating inside. Yeah, I'm
one-
so over that.
the one thing that I will give Last Jedi is that when you actually sit down and watch from start to finish, it's a more complete, competent movie. It's shot really well, but that's because Rian Johnson's actually really good at shot composition. But like, you fucked up Luke Skywalker's character. To me, like, that's so unforgivable. Because, like, again, you guys should go watch the Sam Witwer clip where he talks about Last Jedi, and because it's 100% agreed. The same guy who wouldn't kill his dad, basically Space Hitler, because but then is ready to just kill his nephew because he might turn to the dark side.
It doesn't make any sense.
And then he's just like, I'm gonna go fuck off and be a hermit because I'm so like, no, that's not Luke.
yeah, for
Like
sure.
I'm all for heroes being pushed down to their bare minimum, like being completely shattered.
Give him like I don't know,
like-
the enemy of arthritis.
Well, yeah. Well, even then, if you wanted Luke to be like maybe he did, like maybe Kylo Ren
Hear
turning
me
to the
out.
dark side.
If he just like started suffering with like Alzheimer's, that would have been a way better
Yeah.
story.
That I would have, that would have been way better.
And they would have been so sad and good.
Yeah,
Like,
I actually-
oh my gosh, he's like trying to train a Jedi,
But, like, he
but
can't.
he can't remember. Oh, think about how good that would have been.
I think it would have been really solid. But of
That's why he
course,
ran off, because he was like forgetting stuff, and he's like so confused and scared.
The problem too with again, we'll get to the trilogy, but like the fact that this trilogy wasn't planned. They didn't have a set plan. They just had J.J. Abrams make this movie and set it up for the next guy, and then the next. And again, I don't blame Rian Johnson for Last Jedi because he did what he was told to do: is make the next movie. They didn't give him any restraints. They just let him go off, and he made a movie. Granted, it wasn't what I would have done, but like I don't blame him for that because again, fucking Lucasfilm should have had a plan. a 3-movie plan if you wanted to make a trilogy.
Yeah,
but they didn't do that.
They fumbled the bag.
Yeah. You were literally given one of the biggest entertainment IPs in the world, and you couldn't whatever. They all made $1 billion, so they made the money back anyway. So who gives a shit? But yeah, Rise of Skywalker wins that one.
All right. Round 2. Episode 4, A New Hope versus Clone Wars.
And this is the Tarkovsky Clone Wars.
Samurai Jack animated. If you haven't seen it, it's kind of like a miniseries, but we voted to put it in movies.
Because it's like an OVA for an anime where it's longer than a series, but so we're counting the whole group if you watch it in order. It's about a movie length, so we're putting it there.
This is really difficult to me. I'm gonna be okay with the decision.
It's either or, but I don't know, because Tarkovsky's Clone Wars is stellar.
I'm going to say a lot of controversial things in a string here.
Okay.
A New Hope is my favorite of the originals. I like the prequels more than the originals. And the original Clone Wars is some of the best shit the prequels ever did. So for me, the Clone Wars wins, hands down.
It's just hard to go up against the first movie.
That is true.
It's really difficult.
This is the thing.
And it's like, do we count the impact that it has on today?
We can, but even without the impact, let's just take the best of Tarkovsky's Clone Wars, right? You got your Mace Windu fights, you got the speeder lance fight,
yeah.
But then the trench run, that first moment we go, use the Force, Luke, and he's like,
I'm gonna do episode 4, and I'm not happy about it.
That was just a bad matchup because I think I'm going episode 4 just because as much as I love Tarkovsky's
I mean,
Wars,
I'd be super. Let's go back, and I'm sure it'll win 3rd place.
probably. But the thing with the New Hope is, again, like with the rest of the trilogy, I don't maybe I have some problems with Return of the Jedi, but it's small bits. But A New Hope, there's not a single moment in that movie where I'm like, oh, I don't want to watch this, or I'm bored, or this.
Yeah.
It's every second, the fact that we don't see our protagonist for 20 minutes into the movie because they have to set up everything. They're like, no, our hero is not important right now. He does not have to be the first guy you see in the story. Then we get Luke, and it's just he's a guy. He's just a kid.
Just a dude.
He's just a dude. And I don't know,
Guys being dude.
Guys being dude.
being
I will
dudes.
say that one scene in the sunset at Tatooine where he goes and looks out at the 2 suns.
Twin Sons.
That
That
is-
score. I mean,
That's
score.
that's one of my favorite scenes in Star Wars.
Let's just put this right here. Even if the movie's bad, they've never fumbled the score of these. Every, especially when Williams is involved.
Okay.
That shit fire. So yeah, I'll say A New Hope. I know. I kind of hate that Tarkovsky's Clone Wars got booted out that fast.
But
It'll
no,
go
we'll
high in the next 2 places. I
Yeah,
think.
we'll come back to it for sure. All right.
Is there a loser bracket?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a 2nd and 3rd place bracket.
Okay, cool. Whatever. All right, next. This
Okay.
easy clap. Empire Strikes Back versus the 2008 Clone Wars movie.
Yeah,
Empire.
no
Empire.
discussion needed.
Empire.
Wins.
Empire is so good for being. Honestly, it's almost like a filler episode. If you think about it,
Well, yeah, because it's they're all doing their own.
it's a
thing.
training arc. It's
It's the runaway. It's them getting. It's the chase. The chase
it
scene.
is. I mean, it's not even a filler. But you get what I'm saying.
It's not a filler, but yes, if this was in a TV show, this would be the parts that are probably boring.
But that's what we need in Star Wars.
Yeah.
That the new movies didn't get. We need the connecting threads
Well, and also that was the
instead
best.
of somehow Palpatine is alive.
And then, we get Yoda, we get Cloud City. I mean, there's so many highlights. We get
There's so much character growth because obviously you have the relationship between Leia and Han. You have Luke training to be a Jedi, and him forsaking that training to go save his friends, and you see how that works for him. Han sacrificing himself. He should have died for his friends.
I love you.
I know. Oh my God. Fuck, dude.
So good.
Empire is so
I do that all the time. It pisses Carmen off. She says, "Just say I love you back," and I'm like, "You don't get it.
You don't understand.
I'm saying it all without saying it."
It's so good,
He is
dude.
literally me.
Empire
I'm
wins.
Han Solo. I'm Han Solo. I'm Han
The
Sole.
fact that somebody let that happen is interesting.
Yeah.
There was a time
We
where
didn't add that to
Lucasfilm
games.
Didn't give a fuck.
I that wouldn't last
All right,
that long.
We'll shout them out.
I wanna-
the Just Dance.
The Connect Star Wars game.
Connect Star Wars.
I do want to talk about Clone Wars because man, if this is all we had, Clone Wars will not be nearly as good as it is because like in this first movie, Ahsoka is annoying as shit. The only
Baby
redeeming
Jabba.
Baby Jabba, you have. I think the only good redeeming quality of that is Obi-Wan. Like even Anakin's kind of annoying.
Like,
but like Obi-Wan,
we're not counting it, but you have to say like it does set up for the show,
yeah,
which is like
it sets it up, but it's
which
like
is which makes the prequels better.
well, the thing with
You think like why are they because a lot of people are like why is like Luke or why is Obi-Wan and Anakin acting this way, and you're like they are like as close to brothers
as you could get.
I mean, it's that war bond.
Yeah.
And it's so deep, and that's what makes
The Clone Wars
episode
show,
3 so
Episode 3 hits way harder when you have all that context because you have all of that buildup of their relationship of being
and
brothers.
then adding in like you see like Anakin being a Jedi Master to Ahsoka without having the title, and then it's just seeing all that. I mean, even like the episodes with like when you like deal with like the light and dark gods, like that was
getting harsh into the lore. I do again. We'll get to this in the TV show.
Remember, what was the planet? Because they like, and then it was like the lion and like light and dark. Remember that episode?
I don't remember the exact planet name, but it was like the son and the daughter, and then like the father.
Yes.
The mother. Apparently, by the way, fun fact: the mother is that really creepy Abeloth space witch thing. That's fucking creepy as shit.
So, anyways, just adding all the lore that it connects to, but we're not talking about.
But that'll get to the shows. The movie itself. When you realize that it was the first 3 episodes they strung together a movie, it really feels like it.
So that's Empire's a win for
sure,
easily.
Up next, Episode 7, The Force Awakens versus Solo, a Star Wars story.
Solo
For sure.
Solo's
more fun.
Really?
Solo's more fun. Like
Solo
I'll
is fun.
I will give this.
Solo is fun, but Poe and Finn together?
Oh, you mean the thing that'll never happen because they're cowards?
Yeah, but in this movie, it was possible. When this movie came out, everybody was hype on Star Wars.
That's the thing. I will give like I feel like there's a lot of people who come out and say I never liked Force Awakens, but I'm like no, everyone did when it came out. Like when that movie came out,
I had fun during that. I mean, it was so
it
exciting to go. Like when I was home in California for Christmas, going to the movies and seeing Star Wars with my family, that was great. But
the thing is,
I just think that Solo's a better movie.
Han is more fun in this movie than he is in his own movie.
So here's my thing with both. I'm starting.
You make a really good point.
I'm starting to lean. Starting to lean
I'll
because
give you that.
and
100%.
you know what? I'll give it to BJ because I think Force Awakens is a very good start because it sets up characters really well. The problem is we're
No,
thinking,
it doesn't.
No, it does.
It sets him up in a terrible direction.
It sets up Finn really well.
Sure, but Finn is.
But then
like,
they fumble that.
But Finn was the arc that we all wanted. Was him to be the Force sensitive. I would have been so good, like fine if the protagonist of the movie was Rey, but she was not Force sensitive, and then she helps get Finn helps him discover who he is.
So
that would have been so good.
Well, no, the thing is, like, I disagree because like the setup is good in that okay, Kylo Ren is now like this. He's on a warpath. Like Rey and Finn are both in this position of like, what do we do now?
But this is what I'm gonna say. Even though it was fun, but it was like.
Again, the problem is that
let me say that it was the new Star Wars, so it's like if you just were thinking of like it's already big, it's already really big, and they do everything really big and exciting. But I feel like if you go down to the little details of each thing that they try to make big, they're not done well. And that to me, even though it's like,
I agree with that, but Solo is the same exact thing. In Solo, it's like, oh, we're going to show the story of Han Solo.
But it's not like, big. It's not big to begin with. It's not like it's the next iteration.
But they treat it like it is. It's like, oh, how did Han Solo get his iconic gun? A guy gave it to him one time.
But then there's other things like it's a little bit of a heist. It's a little heisty. It's like a bunch of other stuff. Like
the reason I think
I'm voting Solo. I just think
the reason
I'm not going to fall for me how. Like I want to go get in. It's for me. It's the details. It's the little things like how like I don't know the lightsaber like fights or even like all of that was fucking lame. Like,
well, the problem,
like if you get down to it, like Kylo Ren was just a fucking like simp for Darth Vader. Like all these things are like if I get down to it, I just was not about.
It's the things of that's why when I say like they set up really well is it like these are all things where it's like yeah by themselves like as whatever like you're like oh what the fuck
But it's in the context of being the next movie.
but again it's the
After
first
the trilogy.
but it's the first one of the next like they set up like that's the thing I will say Force Awakens is a great start.
Okay.
The problem is that I think we all have the benefit of well they didn't go anywhere with any of these that like it sours the first movie because like yeah going back to watch Force Awakens you're like well that doesn't go anywhere. That's not important. That
I mean, I feel
you
like
know what I mean.
But,
Like you
I mean,
kind
we
of
voted, but here, this is what I'm saying. We voted for with retrospect.
Yeah.
I didn't. I voted for
mean,
because of what it is standalone as a standalone, and then yeah, what it sets up.
I'm here. Let's just not talk about this anymore. I'm voting solo. I feel like you originally, but then you switched.
Well, because I started thinking because BJ what he said I started to agree with, but
Let's just vote.
I still say The Force Awakens.
I mean, neither of these are getting far, so I don't
No.
want to.
Yeah, Solo is absolute dog shit, and so is Force Awakens in the long run.
So, what are you guys voting?
Force Awakens.
Same.
Let's go ahead and say.
Okay,
It.
let's just do it
All right.
already.
I love by the way we fucked up. We wrote episode 2 Revenge of the Sith, not episode 3. But whatever. Revenge of the Sith
Episode 2, Revenge of the Sith.
versus Ewok Adventures.
Oh, hold on. Wait, what did I? Was it supposed to be episode?
7. Force Awakens beat Solo.
Did we already write episode 2? Oh, yes, we did.
Yeah, because
Episode
that
2.
one, yeah.
Okay, so
Attack of the Clones and Phantom Marty on.
okay, you haven't seen the Ewok Adventures.
I've seen one of them.
Which one?
I
Caravan.
don't remember.
The first one he's seen.
Okay, it's
What-
called Caravan of Courage.
There was a dual pack DVD at the Leapersburg
Yes.
Library that I checked out and watched one of them, and I was a kid, so
It's
I
probably
loved
the
it.
first one. So you
Yeah.
watch Caravan of Courage. Is it like mostly in the desert?
No, so I saw Battle of Endor.
That one takes place in a desert?
Yeah, their own. Like, yeah.
Okay.
They have
Look,
to.
I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
Deserts on Endor now, too?
Yes,
Fuck this planet.
dude.
Look, I'm gonna go ahead and say Revenge of the Sith.
Was there a witch in the one that you watched?
Yes.
Then you watched Battle of Endor.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and just say Revenge of the Sith. That's me.
Yeah,
But
it's so good. But
again, I like you guys talked. You guys can go listen to the podcast. These guys went off on Ewok Adventures and how like legitimately like like so bad it's good. It was like a trip to watch. Like yeah, it's one of the best bad movies they've ever seen.
it is the best bad
Yeah.
movie that we. I mean, we've yet to see more, but yeah.
But like
Revenge of the
Revenge
Sith.
of the Sith is too good because
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
and again.
And we'll get into it more in these next brackets.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for sure.
If Ewoks was up against the real episode 2, it would win.
Oh,
I
for
think.
sure. Absolutely.
all right. So then we have episode 6, Return of the Jedi, versus Rogue One.
I'm
Rogue One
Rogue
fucking
One
stomp.
is so good.
Oh my gosh.
And that's probably going to be pretty controversial, but I
Look,
don't give a fuck.
I'm going to say this. Return of the Jedi is really good for the throne room scene and like Luke being
Again,
a badass.
it's like a perfect movie.
See, I disagree in some of the sense where like a lot of the Battle of Endor is somewhat boring.
yeah, but it's so much fun.
Also, Han's
It's
character.
so much fun.
Oh no, it's fun, but Han's character also is a bumbling idiot, just kind of just there. I agree with Harrison Ford that he should have died in Empire.
after
Yeah.
being frozen.
Yeah, well, like that he just dies. That's where he dies is that point, and to sacrifice himself to save his friends. But like also, because again, yeah, in return, he's just kind of an idiot. Like he's bumbling around. Like
I mean,
the
Rogue
way-
One
I mean,
just-
shit. The way Boba Fett dies
yeah,
is
he knocks Boba Fett off
'Cause he didn't quite
accidentally.
Well, hold on.
Here-
So, but Rogue One, why
One's
we're
perfect.
talking about it is that Rogue One, like, broke the mold.
Yeah.
It broke the mold for Star Wars, and it's
Hannibal was in it.
it's so good.
It's a phenomenal
We
movie.
get-
Like
That's where we get Saw Gerrera,
Yeah.
who is like
Yeah.
the pin and everything now.
Yeah,
every like pre Empire, like pre A New Hope shit is all Saw Gerrera.
yeah, for sure. All right,
So yeah, definitely Rogue One. Also, I love how it's a tragedy of a film because
I
it's
love that.
not gonna be.
I love that it ends, and it only and the only thing, and they pretty much came up with it from the one line you get in episode 4, which is like, lots of Botham spies died for this information, and you're like, huh? And they're like, let's make a fucking movie about that.
Yeah, that shit. Rogue One's great. It's phenomenal.
All right, round 2. All right, this is gonna be your next bracket is
Not controversial at all. Phantom Menace versus Rise of Skywalker. Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace.
fucking slaps.
even
Not even like a fight.
No.
It's not even a fucking
No.
fair fight.
no.
Wipes
You want
the
to talk
floor.
about fights? Duel of the Fates, my guy.
Oh my gosh! It's I will say it's the best. It is
the best,
the best
the best lightsaber fight in
to date.
I'll say in live action because I feel like
Well,
some,
yeah, because Tarkovsky's Clone Wars, you can't
top some of
can't
that.
do that in
Yeah.
live action.
live action. It is the best.
Even
lightsaber
some
fight.
even some of the Visions lightsaber fights were like, oh fuck, thematic. But like, yeah, and it like that to me is peak Jedi. They're fucking space wizards who
Dude,
can
they
sense
even
things.
use like force jump and force run.
Yep.
You get two abilities that you never see again.
Never
The
again.
politics are still there, but you get the action based on the politics. It's real Star Wars for me.
And while
Yeah.
some of the politics may be stupid as fuck, because I definitely didn't understand it when I was a kid. I was
I
like,
mean, I
what?
didn't understand them until I got older, but it was still fun for me to watch.
know,
Well,
it-
it is good because you're like, okay, you have like it's like two countries fighting, and then like, okay, well, one country puts a blockade in space. It's not really illegal, but it's frowned upon.
Like masturbating on an airplane.
Yes, exactly. And yet you're like, okay, so we have to get them out of here, and then they start landing on troops, and they're like, yeah, we're landing, we're not doing anything, and so it is just good. I mean, it's
Also,
good politics.
And we can all talk about like what you feel about Jar Jar Binks versus like young Anakin and all this stuff. But like again, I don't know. To me, it's
Dude,
like
Jar Jar makes a redemptive arc. The fact that he's in Mandalorian.
yeah, I'm at best.
Not
man.
as Jar Jar, but
Yeah.
that guy.
I think I love that because like
I'm so sad that he like
he almost like he was like
Yeah.
close to like
yeah
killing himself. And
he
that's like
wanted to kill himself. That's so sad.
I hate that Star Wars fans have like bullied some of these actors to the point where it's like
I'm okay with one, but we might get canceled for that.
The fucking child Anakin.
No.
no, because that's not a good like I don't
Yeah, that's not his fault.
yeah.
It's
Then in Mandalorian season
Marie
3.
Cho.
I don't even like that because again she was an actor who got put in a thing. That's not her fault.
Sure.
I blame the writers and the directors.
Honestly, all the shit that Ray got to, I wasn't too mad about.
I think the bullying of the actors is fucked. Absolutely, go give shit to the writing teams.
I know, but you can't just like the writing team isn't touring, so you can't like cancel them.
But like again, it's not the actor's fault. If I'm not gonna bully Amit Best and Jake Lloyd for their episode 1 cringe fest, I'm not blaming Ray or the rest of them for that
All right.
shit.
Next one, episode 4 versus 5, A New Hope versus Empire Strikes Back.
BJ already said 4 is his favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the two ones that are like cream of the crop for me, though. But I do think A New Hope wins out for me,
I agree.
just because like
It's the start of a saga.
Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader. You get that whole thing, and growing up as a prequel kid, like that means a lot. So
Yeah.
I'll definitely be the odd man out and just say Empire because Empire is my favorite movie of all time.
It's so good.
It's perfect. Like to me, there's not a single moment in Empire that I'm bored watching, and even in A New Hope, like I don't know, because to me, Empire just goes from here's A New Hope, here's all the stuff you love about Star Wars, and then it's like, but let's take it a step further. One, we get Hoth, which is for whatever reason the sickest shit ever. I remember playing that shit in Battlefront all the time. Like that was the one map I'm like, no, go to Hoth. We got to fight in Hoth.
I like fighting on Kashyyyk the best.
She was really good, yeah. But like. It's I don't know, man. Empire.
Tatooine was always fun. It's at close quarters.
I think I'm getting just tired of seeing desert shit in Star Wars now. That like it seems that every planet
That's the
has
problem with live action Star Wars, though. They're always limited to real life locations for the most part.
Well, no, because they're doing that
Mandalorian's changing it.
Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Andor, and all those were
This
filmed
new
on
season
that.
of The Mandalorian was so goddamn good.
They're filming on that with the screens behind them.
Well, they've been doing that since the first season.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
Yeah.
but that's why
Well,
they're
yeah.
so good.
Yeah, so they can do different things, but even Mandalorian and Boba Fett was like but Tatooine though, and I'm like
So A New Hope wins.
yeah.
All right, next one. Episode 2 versus Episode 7. Episode 2.
Episode 2 wins.
This is not even a discussion.
I
Yeah.
disagree, but no, go ahead.
You think it's a discussion?
I think Episode 2 is the worst Star Wars movie I've ever seen.
Count Dooku, Jango Fett, Kit Fisto, Mace Windu, all fighting together in that fucking arena. The clones are introduced.
Camino is so dope.
Camino was fucking sick.
I will say this: the Attack of the Clones is the only Star Wars movie that I've fallen asleep to.
The Mandalorian hinges so heavily on the plot of this because the whole cloning shit they took from the Kaminoans.
I'm not saying that like it's a bad movie or like that. Like I think fucking Force Awakens is better. Attack of the Clones is my least favorite Star Wars movie of all time.
Okay.
But
All right, next one. We got episode 3, Revenge of the Sith versus Rogue One.
it's hard for me because Revenge
That's
of the Sith
so,
is so good.
it's so good.
So okay,
I know, we're also like, I
If-
feel like
here's the
in a
thing.
small
we-
minority of people that really like the prequels.
so here's the thing. As standalone movies, Rogue One wins. I think Rogue One as a standalone movie, it's better than Revenge of the Sith because a lot of Revenge of the Sith really, for me, hinges on Clone Wars. Because like I said, I didn't, like when growing up, I loved the prequels, but like when I was like 13, 14, 15, and when I rewatched these movies, I hated most of episode 1, I hated 2, and I liked 3, but Clone Wars made me care again.
It did.
And it makes Revenge of the Sith way better.
Well, there's
All
so
that
much.
content.
There's so much, like, not only like the bond between Obi-Wan and Anakin, but also the fact that Obi-Wan starts to fall in love with somebody, loses her, then is like, then he does, like, if Anakin had actually like talked to Obi-Wan about Padme, Obi-Wan
probably, yeah.
would have been like, yeah, man, it's okay. Like, I lost the woman that I loved.
Like, could you
because
ima-
I tried to
Could you
not
imagine?
form
Could you imagine
attachments.
if that's how Obi-Wan went with it, where it's like, look, you're gonna lose her, like she's gonna die, and you don't want to go through that. Like I don't like.
Seriously, yeah. So I'm gonna.
Again,
Oh,
as
all
I
this
said,
talking because I get in the feelings and emotions of episode
as
2.
as a
That's
standalone
my-
movie, I think Rogue One is better. But man, I enjoy Revenge of the Sith
we're
way
talking
more.
about stuff in the whole ecosystem. So I'm gonna go
also
episode.
as an opening. The fucking Starfighter shit.
It looks
fucking awesome.
looks better than
Still
not
looks-
than 90% of anything that's come out.
Yes, it still looks great today. So yeah, Revenge.
Episode 2.
Well, you agree with
Yeah, I definitely. I think I'd put Revenge of the Sith over Rogue
Yeah.
One.
So episode 2, Revenge of the Sith. Rip to Rogue One, but like honestly, like still Rogue One is a great movie, but fuck, Revenge of the Sith is so good.
Oh wow, wow! This is what we're getting to. Okay, so we have next one is the Phantom Menace versus A New Hope.
I would go A New Hope.
Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace.
Damn. That's
For me, the main character of Star Wars is Obi-Wan fucking Kenobi.
Yes.
So-
And we get Qui-Gon, the best Jedi to ever walk
bro.
the
no,
face of the
Fucking
galaxy.
facts.
You guys need to
Facts.
read. You guys need to read the Master and Apprentice novel, which is Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan on like an adventure. Qui-Gon, man, if he lived,
And
no.
I love that we get Qui-Gon in what's the most recent one that
Obi-Wan.
animated.
Well, that's why it's
Oh,
the duel
oh,
of the
the-
Fates.
Tales of the
Tales.
Jedi. Yeah.
That Dooku trains
yeah, Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon, and that Qui-Gon is voiced by his son. Oh, it's so good.
Qui-Gon, it's one of the things where like they've confirmed it. If Qui-Gon lived and trained Anakin, he would not have fallen to the dark side. He would have been the chosen one. It would have gone perfectly because Qui-Gon understood that the Jedi Order is very rigid and strict for no fucking reason. He was all about like
what are midichlorians?
he understood that like attachment's not a terrible thing to have. It can boost everything. He knew the Jedi Order was in a weird spot. Like he
Yeah.
was apparently like a maverick in the Jedi Order. But like, man, I don't know, man. To me, A New Hope's just a better movie.
I hear that. I hear
again,
that.
I understand the love for Phantom Menace because I grew up.
it was the first movie I saw, Star Wars movie I seen in theaters with my dad. I mean, it's so hard to top.
To me-
all of every like emotion that I have.
That's where they introduced the battle droids that everybody loves.
See,
It's
for
you
me.
get- I mean, the lightsaber fight is like they do such a perfect job of introducing Darth Maul with a single dude. He was literally gonna run over that kid, and he comes out, jumps with one single side,
One emitter.
and you're like, oh shit, it's fucking Jedi, and he's got horns. Oh my gosh, it's so dope. And then in the final, fight, it's so good. He goes zoom, boom. Oh my gosh, dude. If I wasn't prepubescent, I would have come my pants.
I'll take the loss here, but I think A New Hope is better.
For sure, it's a crazy one. So I'm gonna
You guys will outvote me for that, but I definitely think the final
the
final
it is the best
fights
score in the entire series.
Absolutely.
the final fights of both those movies, while being both very emotional and like what they mean for these characters, I do think Duel of the Fates is a better fight than just Obi-Wan and Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Now, granted, even though it's not part of this, we were talking about Scene 38 fight versus. I mean, I'm just
my
saying that
gosh.
shit.
Yeah,
that shit hit
It's so
hard.
crazy. I mean, all like the little things he does. If you we're talking about this guy on YouTube, one single guy.
Isn't it in Fix It in Post?
Fix It in Post is his YouTube channel. You have to check it out. It has like 20 million views.
So you've probably seen it.
You've
But
probably
still.
seen it, but
just go
if you
watch it
haven't,
again.
Watch it again. It's like 8 minutes long. It is the fight between old Ben versus Darth Vader, and
But they put him in their prime.
they put him in their prime, but it's also they do so many little things where like they hear the echo of like I hate you, like
that-
you were my brother,
Dude,
And then
anytime-
when they lock sabers in Darth Vader's eyes, one of them is blue and the other one is red. It's so fucking deep that you're like even in little things you're like it's a light side versus it's like his inner battle as well. Oh my gosh, dude. It's so good. And just seeing Darth Vader's hatred, I mean, it is kind of like what the series tried to do, but it's even more, I think it's the best thing.
It's awesome, and as a supplemental thing, because like to me, that's the canon fight.
Yeah.
No one can tell me otherwise. That just happened.
He fucking throws it and it lands next to him.
And then he forces it. Oh my gosh.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
so
yeah,
fucking
but
watch that.
Watch it. We voted Phantom Menace. Yeah, we're good there.
All right. Next one is episode 2 versus 3.
Revenge of the Sith. wins
Revenge
this
of
one.
the Sith. That's a
Yeah, easy clap.
Easy as
All
crap,
right.
especially
Now
for me.
here's another one. Before the final one,
We have the bronze match, which is Revenge of the Sith versus Phantom Menace. Because it's a seed. It's loser of 11 and
so
loser
it's
of
a
12.
New Hope.
No. Oh yeah, wait, no.
A New
oh,
Hope
yeah, you're
versus
right.
Attack of the
Bronze
Clones.
A New Hope versus Attack of the Clones.
So it's
New Hope.
New Hope.
A New
That's
Hope,
easy. Yeah. Okay. So let's do number 1. Oh, hold on. It won't let me write it in yet.
So
Okay. Phantom Menace versus Revenge of the Sith. This is so easy.
I say Revenge of the Sith.
BJ.
I say Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace.
Damn, what? That's so. that legitimately confuses me, like the love y'all have for like the prequels that much, because I think I've come around on Phantom Menace over the years. Attack of the Clones still sucks for me. I cannot sit through that movie ever. Like I can't. I've paused it. I'll sleep through it. Like I'm like I just can't watch this. Phantom Menace I can get through, especially because I've learned to love it over the years. Revenge of the Sith again, with all of the context of the Clone Wars, and even now the fucking Obi-Wan show, adding to more of the Anakin Obi-Wan shit. Revenge of the Sith is like the movie for me, because like that final fight scene, like you want to talk about final fight scenes being like just emotionally, like everything about it, the Anakin versus Obi-Wan fucking hurts. Especially,
right.
yeah, you talk about that I hate you part in that they like always call back to. Like, I will say this: people like to give Hayden Christensen a lot of shit. That man, like,
Okay, so
when given the right direction,
So if we go
Nails
to second and third place, we have to say, because it kind of skewed it, but I will fix it. Second place is going to be between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. And A New Hope is a clear winner.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
that puts it as 3, and that would mean Revenge of the Sith is 3rd.
so yeah, I disagree. With
I
you.
did.
Revenge of the Sith would be second for me.
Whoa.
Again, context.
That's
A
interesting.
New Hope is great. I love it. Everything about it. I talk
Yeah,
all this
yeah.
shit about the prequels. but
Okay,
Revenge of the
so
Sith.
so let's just
is
run
the odd man
down
out.
what we've gotten to, which is so interesting, and it's been a journey. So we got gold medal, A Phantom Menace,
Sadly,
silver
My
medal,
ass.
A New Hope, and bronze, Revenge of the Sith.
I'd switch A New Hope and Revenge, but that's just me.
But I still think we landed
No,
in
like,
the top 3.
Yeah, I probably would have put Empire up there.
It is true, and we didn't really get back to the Tarkovsky Clone Wars.
Sadly,
But if in those top 3, I still think they might boot him out. So
yeah, it's so interesting having that, because like I don't know, my prequel journey is so weird, because like my first Star Wars movie I ever saw was A New Hope, because I was at a party, like my dad, like it was like a church after
Really?
church party, and
you didn't see any of the others in theaters?
no, not at all.
Okay.
I was 4 when I saw A New Hope, and
I can't remember anything. When I
I was the only reason I remember this is because I was being an annoying child. All the adults at church were just wanting to like hang out and talk, whatever the fuck adults talk to at that time. And I was just like being annoying. And so then this guy,
Phantom Menace, I would have been 5, so that's interesting.
this guy just was like, hey, I can get a movie on in the other room. All the kids can go watch that or whatever. And I was being annoying. And he goes, hey, this story, the main character's name is Luke. And I was like, whoa, what? That's me. And so he set us down and we watched The New Hope, and I was like mesmerized. I was like, what is this? And again, I'm a kid, so I can't differentiate like graphics and all this other shit. Like this looked insane.
No, I mean it makes sense for sure. I mean that's like that. Those feelings you feel as a kid is why Phantom Menace is so high.
But then like when I saw the prequels for the first time, I was with you guys where I'm like, what the fuck? This is so cool. Darth Maul, like all this shit. Watching Attack of the Clones, everything he said, like Kit Fisto, Mace Windu, Jango Fett.
Wait, you saw it with us?
No, like what you guys said,
okay.
guys said. It was that thing where like, yo, seeing all like the Jedi in their prime, the Darth Maul fight, seeing Attack of the Clones, and seeing like just Mace Windu, Jango Fett, Count Dooku, all that shit. I was like, I'm in. And the Revenge of the Sith capping it off. Like you asked me as a kid, those 3 movies are my favorite movies of all time. And then I watched them as I was older, and like I watched them in order of 1 through 6. And I remember getting to I remember watching the prequels and going, those weren't as good as I thought they were. And then watching the original trilogy and going, these are perfect.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just have, I don't know. I love the prequels as a kid, and for whatever reason, I just kind of was like, they don't hold up as much for me as like the original trilogy does. I still to this day think Attack of the Clones is the worst Star Wars movie, but that's again me. But I just think the plot, like I definitely agree that like all those moments you talk about of like, oh, Mace Windu, the Count Dooku fight, Jango Fett being awesome, like those are cool, but then I'm like, the rest of the movie makes no fucking sense. Everything in there is like, why are we here? What is this? Like, why is this happening the way it does? Everything, like, I just can't take my brain away from the illogical side of it. That the hype shit moments are like still hype, but I'm like, I'll be honest, I'd rather play them in a Lego Star Wars game.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Well, that's that. That's Star Wars movies.
Yep.
So according to the Side Quest podcast, Phantom Menace,
We are not accepting criticism, so keep it to yourself. God damn it.
it goes.
Or if you want to, just leave a 5-star rating so we know that you disagree with us. on our Spotify.
Yeah, give us 5 stars if you disagree with this list.
And if you also agree with this list,
Just give us 5 stars,
Give us 5 stars. Yeah, but either one will know that you felt strongly about our list
Yeah.
for sure.
And even if you don't feel strongly, just put a 5-star on there. Just be cool.
Yeah, because that takes zero
Don't be
effort.
a fucking narc, dude.
Yeah.
All right.
So, all right, on to the next list.
Doing shows next?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Let's go. This one I think is going to be the most heated.
Maybe. I think though we might have some very similar tastes on the shows at least.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Let's see. Challenge.
All right.
Oh, the way this one is laid out on my phone, it looks really weird.
It is because round 1 has to start off weird. But I mean, it's the same thing. It's a bracket, so it'll get there. So we have to do it. You can see the numbers beside them. So we have to do 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, which is on the top. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So number 1. So these are the Star Wars shows. So for this, it's every animated show, live action show. We didn't talk about any of the kid shows because we didn't watch those. But this is all the Disney Plus stuff and whatnot. So
The shit that matters.
Yeah.
Round 1. Rebels versus Tales of the Jedi. Rebels.
I still have not seen Tales of the Jedi, but I'm picking Rebels just because of the importance it
It's
has
really,
in the
it's
universe.
actually really good.
I will pick Rebels.
For being a unique story, they did a really good job.
Yeah.
Rebels gets this specifically.
We unlocked an achievement for choosing
Rebels.
Rebels just now.
Rebels gets this specifically for their continuation of all the Clone Wars stuff that got just shafted, like Darth Maul being how important. Plus that final scene with him and Obi-Wan, still to this day, awesome.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, no, Rebels.
I was
for
really
sure.
hoping for them to adapt that at the end of the Obi-Wan show, just as like an end credit scene or something.
But yeah, Rebels. Also, like Qui-Gon, Kanan is one of the best Jedi. Like him kind of realizing that, like, yeah, the Jedi Order was kind of fucked, and like it's not about adhering to these harsh rules. Also
Seeing such a mostly force sensitive character, like if we're talking about like game mechanics of like him pouring all of his points into just the force, is a really cool character.
he also that moment when he dies, when he gets his sight back and like looks
and sees her,
sees his wife for the last time, and it's like, oh my
it's
gosh,
so sad.
that hurt me.
and then just gets caught in the
And
explosion.
then fucking canonizing Thrawn. I read the
Which
Thrawn
is
trilogy.
going to be the next
Big arc
the big
in-
arc in Star
Are there
Wars.
any more beers left?
Not in this one, but I can grab you a Simply.
But like, oh fuck that. I just also Ahsoka. Also, Ahsoka being brought back and being like a sick ass like gray Jedi. Like
I'm gonna get a squirt.
they nailed the lore and like what I love. Also, isn't this the first time we saw the Inquisitors in the new canon?
Yeah.
Dude, the Grand Inquisitor is terrifying. Like for a villain, I was like, fuck. And so yeah, they nail it, dude. Rebels for sure. And granted, I love Tales of the Jedi. The Ahsoka part's pretty good. The Count Dooku section's amazing. But like, yeah, Rebels I think is just consistently better. And granted, we're talking about a short series versus a long running one, but still, Rebels takes it for me for sure. And we're finally gonna get the continuation in the Ahsoka show. I'm very excited for that.
All right, round 2. We're starting off with Mandalorian versus Clone Wars TV show. Oh, wow.
I'm gonna be honest with you, dog. It's gotta go Clone Wars for me. I love Mandalorian, and especially it being the first Star Wars thing that didn't completely. Well, no, Rogue One was the first one, but like after Rise of Skywalker, I had no hope for Star Wars. Everything, I was like, fuck this, dude. Like, I'll watch season 7 of Clone Wars, but like, I'm not in it. And then Mandalorian comes out, and I was like, oh shit, they really nailed.
I'm really interested to what BJ has to
But
say.
I would
The
go Clone Wars.
Mandalorian saved Star Wars.
It's true.
Pulled it from the grave like a fucking death trooper.
And we talk about other stuff that if we've talked about this same aspect this aspect I'm going to talk about that's been important when we talked about movies, but there's something for breaking the mold in Star Wars when you're this far long into.
Look, I'm just gonna say this too. Clone Wars doesn't have Lizzo, so I'm just to put that.
But
out
it
there.
does have, but it does have Baby Jabba.
Yeah.
6 seasons of Ahsoka being awful.
I wouldn't say 6. Like it was definitely the first 2 were terrible. It's whenever she gets her dual blades is when she becomes more confident and like actually better. But I don't know.
I don't want to break
me,
the tie. This is
to me,
so
to me,
hard.
it's Clone Wars. Also for lore reasons, like you said, that son and daughter episode, the fact that we see Darth Bane, a Legends character that like, oh, this, whatever, he shows up to talk to Yoda because Yoda is like talking to old Sith masters. Like the lore, again, another reason why I like Rebels so much. The lore of the times.
See, so this is probably what I'm gonna have to do, and it might be stupid, but
I mean, go with your gut.
I have to break the tie somehow. If I go with my gut, I'm going Mandalorian.
Okay.
But if I go over the facts, is that Clone Wars makes the prequels what it is, and it makes pretty much the best the most important dynamic in Star Wars what it is, which is Anakin versus Obi-Wan.
I mean,
And
you talk about saving Star Wars. After Revenge of the Sith, even though it was culturally really good, it still got a lot of hate from a lot of the old heads.
I'm gonna go.
Clone
My
Wars.
feelings goes Mandalorian just because it's been nonstop fun. But the importance of Clone Wars and what it sets up and establishes is unquantifiable. It's so important to the series.
You also, like I said, you said saving Star Wars. Clone Wars kept Star Wars alive. Like there was no plans to do a 7, 8, 9 realistically.
But it also
all this
redeemed a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like Mandalorian was like, fuck everything else. We're just gonna be good.
The Mandalorian started the
job
precedent-
of the Clone Wars was to save.
Well, that's the thing. I still to this day say that they should give a Clone Wars equivalent to the sequel trilogy, because we got one for the prequels. But
The job of the Clone Wars was, we've run out of toys to sell. Make a cartoon about it, and then the new toys will sell even better.
mean, you're right, but like Mandalorian, I do love that it was a deliberate choice. They said Mandalorian's after episode 6, right? We're not talking about the rest of this shit. Fuck all that. It's just here. And like they did it. I fucking Mandalorian's great, but like yeah, to me Clone Wars.
See, the problem is that Mandalorian is better than all the other brackets.
But then again, I also say Clone Wars is better than all the other brackets.
Yeah, but I'm saying
I mean, yeah, if we were like putting all these like against each other like that, like if we were like, oh, like like a tier list, this would be easier. We're like, yeah, I think both of these would go in like S tier.
Yeah, so
You know what I mean?
I
It's
think we have a way of putting in kind of how we did in the last one. It's probably going to get like the bronze medal, 3rd place.
Probably.
Yes. Let's just go on to number 3, which is Obi-Wan versus Book of Boba Fett.
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan.
Even if you want to try to tell me, like I watched a video essay where they said Book of Boba Fett's not that bad, and I'm like, sure, whatever, I don't care.
If you have to make a video essay
Yeah.
about why something
Yes.
isn't that bad,
Yes.
then it fucking sucks balls.
Even every other thing aside,
It should have been a movie or OVA, like kind of style.
everything aside, nothing in Boba Fett made me as like emotional as seeing young Anakin and Obi-Wan fighting again, seeing the actual fight between the two,
and seeing
Qui-Gon showing up.
Yes, all of those things. The emotion they just drove into the emotions of like the kind of fans that we are. It hit right to our heart on that.
Like, I will say this, Anakin is my favorite Star Wars character, despite Luke being as good as he is, because of how much there is about Anakin and like his turn to the dark side. His like
he is the
he's the chosen one. Fuck right.
He is the most important part in all of Star Wars for sure.
Yeah, and like
What are you smiling
seeing
at?
that.
I'm just wondering why you got your big fucking grippers on the kitchen table.
I knew he was smiling about something. I'm just letting my dogs out. All right.
I didn't say anything the whole time, but even I was like,
He was just like wrinkling them at me, and I was like, "Why are you doing that?"
I was about to, when you first put them up, I almost said, for free, dog?
It's a good thing this isn't a video episode.
But yeah, Boba Fett was bad. Boba Fett was just
Beyond
bad.
as bad as that one girl's at MTAC.
Jesus
Oh yeah,
Christ.
that was disgusting.
Yeah.
Go check out our MTech video to know what we're talking about.
Up next,
Visions versus Bad.
I know y'all don't like Bad Batch.
Visions
hate Bad
stops
Batch.
Bad Batch.
Stomps.
I don't think it stomps. I liked Bad Batch. I don't
Fucking-
like.
Omaewa Shinderu
Oh no,
teleports behind Bad Batch and cuts it in half.
You're already dead.
I liked Bad Batch
What?
because I liked the Bad Batch, the crew. I liked them, and I liked the camaraderie.
freaking
It's just
Omega.
Republic Commandos, but gay.
Yeah, for sure. Like if it was Republic Commandos, it would beat out Visions. But Visions broke the mold. They were like, hey, just do. Doesn't matter about canon. Just do whatever you want.
Just,
in
it's
the
got
Star-
it's got to have Force lightsabers. What it has to look like Star Wars.
Yeah.
and they did it.
And every single one of them, except for the one people were like, "Hey, let's make Kaon." They were like, "Jedi shit, Jedi shit, Jedi shit."
yeah, no, it's literally every one of them was like Jedi versus Sith, all this cool stuff, and then you got the one where it's like Joseph Gordon-Levitt wants to make a band and play in Jabba the Hutt's punk rock contest, and it's like
Chibi Boba Fett.
that one was weird.
Our boy Colin McCarley, he's an Imperial officer and
Yeah.
helped
And
produce.
director on some of the episodes, he said.
Yeah, so let's shout out to
So, yeah,
that.
Visions for sure. I don't think Bad Batch is as bad as y'all say it is, but
Mm-hmm.
Visions
I want
is
an
definitely
episode
better.
of Visions that parodies Gundam.
Oh, did you see? Have you seen like some of the Visions Part 2 stuff? They're going full Love and Robots, where it's like they're not just going anime. It's like animators across the world. Like just give us a Star Wars story.
I
and
like
I fucking
that, but
like
I
it.
also just want more anime studios.
They gave an.
I would love for
They
them
only
to
gave
just get
one.
Well, they went with that's the thing is they still want to keep an anime one, but they were like, we want to give it to everybody in the world now.
That's
like,
nice.
I think the
but
best.
that's not what I want.
The
Yeah,
best
fair.
case scenario is they should make a long running series that is a Star Wars
hey,
anime.
I'm just saying.
and use the one with the Sabersmith's daughter, where she takes the lightsabers up, and then they have to find the Sith because they're
Look,
the only Jedi in the galaxy.
I'm just saying.
I mean,
an anime based on the Old Republic would be hype
that
as
one
fuck.
was a great one where they're all like looking for. They're all Sith.
the Ronin, obviously.
The Ronin is fucking
the
amazing.
the third one, which is also really good, is the Jedi and his Padawan versus the old man Sith.
That one is amazing.
Is so good.
I would
Also,
watch 3 seasons of that. Easy.
Studio Trigger getting 2 of them, and they're both being stellar. Yeah, Visions is amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so we got
Get Studio Ghibli in there.
bracket number 5
Just without
is
Miyazaki.
To make
Andor
Ewoks.
versus Rebels.
Andor versus Rebels.
Andor,
I will say this.
From what I've seen, Andor wins.
Yeah,
it wipes. You're gonna have to once it comes down to the final stuff. I'll let you do your own opinions. But Andor wipes the floor with 90% of these. It's
Andor-
let's
Riding
watch some-
alone.
Can we just watch some more today?
We were talking about that yesterday.
Please. It's
It's phenomenal. I love Rebels.
we might
love the
even
stuff
watch
there.
more, and you're like, oh fuck, it should have been number 1 in this. It's close to, if not number 1.
I mean, just from what I've seen, we've seen a couple episodes, and the writing is already way better than the rest of Star Wars combined. So,
yeah, it's so good.
Apparently, Gabriel Luna, the guy who plays Andor, was like part of the he was like creative producer or whatever. Because they're like, hey, you.
I love seeing someone so young being a part of that.
Yeah.
All right, number 6, Obi-Wan versus Visions.
this one is hard for me.
Yeah, hard for me too.
Obi-Wan is my favorite in the mainline cast. So,
The thing is, I'm gonna give it to Obi-Wan
Yeah, I'm gonna
because
give it to Obi-Wan.
of the like what we kept talking about. Like, because Visions, again, like you said, it's stellar. You can watch them all. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have any knowledge of Star Wars. It's just like, here it is.
Like, hear me out.
Obi-Wan,
I bet
though?
Visions would go first if we were like, hey, the amount of time and content that we got out of Obi-Wan, if they dedicated it to like 1 or 2 of the storylines in Visions, we could have given it to Visions.
yeah.
Like if they'd drawn, had like some mini series off of just like those 3 episodes that we talked about, like Ronan, the old guy, and then the one where the
Visions would probably go further.
It
yeah.
would, but I just think that
Dude, but like again, even for the bad of Obi-Wan, the negative, like my negatives of Obi-Wan do not take away from the positives of that show for me.
Yeah.
Like that show's as close to perfect as my brain wants to give it, even though I know it's not perfect.
Oh yeah, there's stuff I hated about it watching it, and I like still pressed on.
I'm gonna be honest.
Even though I'm a guy that's like, I hate something, started to hate. Like, there's a threshold of distaste I have for something, and I'll just stop watching.
I know it was
like
hard.
the Lord of the Rings stuff. I was like, after episode like 2 or 3, I was like, fuck this, I'm out.
You know what I really loved, and I know it's like it's just the small thing where like I love, because at first when I was watching Obi-Wan, I'm like, yeah, why the fuck would you leave Tatooine? Like, isn't his whole thing he has to watch Luke? I love their thing is, yeah, well, it's Leia. It's the other twin.
And
You're
then,
like, oh, fuck.
and then when you like realize that she names her son after him, you're like, oh,
and now you
fuck.
know why it's because
Now you-
old Ben. And I'm like, oh
Old Ben,
fuck,
yeah.
dude. Like they got the perfect casting for young Leia. Like she was perfect in that role. Fuck, Obi-Wan was so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, Obi-Wan for sure.
Ben Skywalker.
Andor versus Clone Wars. This one is the hardest one for
Andor.
me ever.
It's
Again,
so good.
I know you say that, but to me, it's Clone Wars. And again, it's all the shit I talked about before.
But hear me out. Hear me out. It's sure, and I'm not trying to convince you.
No.
I'm just making a case. Clone Wars is really long. Has a lot of filler. If you just take like the hours of it, it's a long time. And what Andor can do in literally the episodes you've seen.
Andor is very concise. It doesn't have, like, from what we've seen even, there's no filler, there's no padding. It's just, here's the story, here's the
But
thing,
it's,
go.
I'm just saying, like, in the amount of time that each of them have to do what they've done, I just think Andor does way better with what it has.
I do think you have to put into perspective of one being a Cartoon Network TV show made for kids that's supposed to be like, all right, it's about like 25 minutes versus Andor being a streaming service TV show
It's
that's
true.
basically a movie budget on.
I agree
Yeah.
because I gave Phantom Menace so much of its credence was how much I felt as a child, or as and this is going to be the same thing about Clone Wars, is how much I felt of a kid when I was younger, and not having a bunch of crappy Star Wars like make me doubt my feelings
Yeah.
for the whole IP.
Again, and
Andor as
I
an
do agree
adult
that Andor
is just
Andor being what it is, which is
and giving me so much life as an adult and giving me adult content and like I mean you haven't even got to the best part of it, which is so crazy
like the
to
prison.
me. Yes.
Yeah. You showed us that one scene of the monologue.
There's 3 monologues that are insane. I cried during 2 of them.
Nice. I cannot wait to finish Andor, but and maybe you're right. After we finish it, I'll be like, this is number 1. But for me, it's like all those feelings that I have. Again, Anakin Skywalker is my favorite Star Wars character, and seeing him, like the episode where Ahsoka is on trial and like Anakin is doing his damn hardest to figure like what the fuck happened. His fight with Barriss, where he is full on like, he's gonna kill her in front of a bunch of these other like younglings and Padawans, but he shows a little bit of restraint there even, and it's like every time Anakin struggles with the dark side, every time he's like with Obi-Wan and their brothers, all of that just fills me with this like love of like everything I love about Star Wars is Clone Wars.
100%
Yeah.
agree. 100% agree.
So yeah, but
I've not given my input yet.
yeah, I say Clone Wars, you say Andor, so
We're just gonna end it after BJ says what he has to.
Andor wins.
yeah, yep.
All right, Andor, submit, done.
All right, do we want to do the bronze one next, or
Yeah,
or just finish it out?
let's finish it out. Andor versus Obi-Wan.
This one is tough.
I'm gonna say Andor. I'm not gonna explain it anymore. It's so fucking good.
I'm not gonna explain anymore. Fuck, this show's so good.
If I had finished Andor at this point, I probably would be in the same boat as you. But Obi-Wan Kenobi validates my whole childhood.
I agree.
I'm with him on this one.
All right.
I think Obi-Wan, and it is 100% nostalgia and like just my personal.
I mean, it was a
feelings in
show made for us, the people that grew up with it and are now adults. So obviously, us being the
And
target audience.
It continues that trend. Like Clone Wars sets up the Brotherhood so much, and you watch Revenge of the Sith and you see it tear down, and then you see it here fracture to the point where it is unsalvageable. And then you go to A New Hope, and it's like,
All right.
you like
I still am pretty upset that I never got to see Obi-Wan go fucking Zorro with Qui-Gon saber and the Skywalker saber on his own.
Yeah.
But I can live without it.
Well, were we? Or do we know if we're getting any more Obi-Wan? Or I think they said,
They said
if there's
something
want
about a
for
season
it, right?
2.
They said if there's want for it, they will do a season 2.
I remember that, and I hope that does happen.
The thing is now though, like, what would it be? Because like, I would
They wouldn't
Vader-
be Anakin versus.
Well, I mean, could it? Because like, could he keep going after him?
Fucking Obi-Wan versus the Hutt Syndicate. I'd watch the shit out of that.
Oh,
Yeah, that-
wait, that's where the Darth Maul shit can come in. Well, no, was that their first meeting after in the Rebels show?
I don't know.
I mean, they could retcon it. Fuck it. You've taken stuff out of canon before. Do it again.
So with bronze match, we're gonna interject Mandalorian, but it says bronze match is Clone Wars TV show versus Visions.
Which would go to Clone. I would say Clone Wars.
I'd
but
say Visions.
I'd say Clone Wars. But do you think Clone Wars versus Mandalorian?
Mandalorian.
Clone Wars.
Okay.
Again, I haven't seen season 3 yet, so maybe my opinion will change. But
So
Wasn't
Again.
that the lineup earlier?
no. Oh yeah, Mandalorian versus Clone Wars. Yeah,
That was
that was the
bracket
thing.
too.
That was the
You
bracket.
changed.
So you changed your mind. That was what you voted out.
yeah, because one was emotions and one was facts.
So this time it's now emotions.
Well, I mean, this late in the game, it's all emotions.
Yeah.
I think.
For
I don't know.
sure.
So, basically, we already said Clone Wars beats Mandalorian the first time, so we can't change it now.
So it goes Obi-Wan,
Andor,
Andor,
and then
Clone Wars.
Clone Wars, which honestly, that checks out.
Yeah,
Pretty well.
That's
That
a
makes
good
sense
list.
to me.
That's a good
That
list.
checks out in terms of those, and then the
The
closest
fourth
runner up
is Mando, for
like
sure.
like
Most
edge
definitely.
like this close in terms of like, oh yeah, they're there. So yeah, that. All right, we got through movies and shows. What's our time like right now?
Hour 2.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Hell yeah.
Not
As many fights yet as I expected.
I told you. I
I'm
feel
glad we're all, for the most part, on the same wavelength. It
Yeah.
makes me trust in our friendship more.
I wonder the games one would be fun because I think there's gonna be some that either you haven't played or some that we know we've all played. I don't know. This will be fun, but like before we go into that, I mean, realistically, like I don't know, like the visual media of Star Wars, right? Like, I definitely. What would you want to see now? Because I know we have Acolyte and Ahsoka coming up as the 2 most recent ones, so you're gonna have.
I want
the
comic shit.
the follow-up.
Comic and book shit. Death
I
Troopers.
want Vader down. to be fully live action because we need it. I don't care what context it's in. It doesn't have to have a story. Just somebody do it, please.
What's the one where where Palpatine sends Darth Vader onto like
to the prison planet. Isn't
Yes.
that
It's Blood Prison, I think.
Yes, I want to see that one. What's the one where it's Palpatine and
Lords of the Sith.
Lords of the Sith, where they're
It's-
like
they're
both trying
trapped.
to kill. Yeah, and they're both.
But they're
trying to-
both like, I'm gonna
He's gonna
kill
try
the-
to kill me, so I'm gonna try to kill him.
Dude, look, and that was the first. I'm pretty sure that was the first canon Disney book, and like I remember reading it, going, "This is what we're gonna get at Disney Star Wars." I'm kind of cool with this because that was a stellar first impression, and since then it's been kind of iffy. Are you good, dude?
Yeah, I just ran over my foot.
Oh, I thought you had like a Charlie horse, like you're
I ran over my foot with my chair.
But like Lords of the Sith, I would love to see because man, could you imagine seeing Hayden Christensen and Ian McDiarmid back together just on the screen again?
That'd be great.
I would love it. And like, yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I to this day want them to do a full KOTOR animated something, but not just start at KOTOR. Start from the Mandalorian Wars. Show us how Revan became that guy. Show his turn to the dark side with Malak. All of it. I want to see everything from his eventual demise in the Revan novel. Like, I want to see everything about Revan.
We talked about this on the last episode, but the book about Darth Maul.
The prison one?
Yes. Sounds
Lockdown.
sounds so good.
So that I bought the other day I bought Darth Maul Shadowhunter. And I didn't know that's not a Darth Maul book like where he's the protagonist. I was reading it, I'm like, oh, it's this Jedi Padawan and like a
Being
trooper
chased by.
being like he's like the Jaws. But you get some moments where he's like it's Darth Maul like watching shit and being like a terrifying. I'm like, oh fuck. It's actually really solid. Honestly, you know, this is what I want to see. I know they won't do it, but you're re-releasing the Legends books under the Essential Legends collection. Just like put Star Wars Legends and do like animated series, live action, like just and make sure it says Legends. So
Just keep using the label in a visual medium, and I think it works.
Because I would love to see the original Thrawn trilogy, because that's what a lot of people consider their episodes 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah.
And it's stellar. I love the Thrawn trilogy. That's where we see Mara Jade for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, Thrawn is like the most terrifying motherfucker in those books, even more terrifying than he is in the TV shows. I would love to see more Legends continuity stuff. And you know what? Even if it's not canon, let Sam Witwer be Starkiller live action.
Yeah.
Let him do it.
I want it.
Dude, I will say, when we were talking about Obi-Wan, the scene where Vader pulls down the ship
God damn
is
it.
maybe one of the, like, maybe right under the lightsaber fight in Phantom Menace
Yeah.
is the best.
That is an incredible
Look,
fucking feat.
we can all
We always talk about how they underpower all these new Jedis, and they're like, what the fuck is this? These wimpy ass pussies. And then finally Darth Vader just goes boom.
we can talk all the shit we want about Disney Star Wars. The one thing they have consistently gotten right is how terrifyingly powerful Vader is.
And we have Rogue One to thank for that.
Yeah, they made like that scene, and I remember seeing that in theaters.
Well,
just being
I
like,
told you how they literally called in Dave Filoni to be like, "Hey, we got this last scene. Can you look over it and like kind of do it for us?" And they are like, they had a guy who's like, he's like, "Why did you hire the person to be Darth Vader to be Italian?" And they're like, "How do you know?" And he's like, "Because he talks with his hands."
I love it,
Vader's
dude.
the most stoic person of all time.
one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite things is the. And that's why Obi-Wan's great is because the times that he starts getting emotional is when he sees Obi-Wan again. That's the most
When he fucking
movement.
just kills the people in the village while as
God,
he's looking
dude.
for.
I watched that series with my
Obi-Wan.
roommate every time. Like, there was a point where we stayed up to like 2 or 3 in the morning for
I'll
the new
give
episode.
that to fucking
yeah.
Obi-Wan. They do a
God,
really
dude.
good job depicting. And then when he finally gets up to him, well, not the very end, but in the middle, where he like surrounds him with fire, and he's like, "I'm gonna burn you like you burned
Oh,
me."
dude,
Drags him through the coals.
that shit. Oh my gosh,
So good.
I love that, and I love how it
He's
calls
just
into.
fucking toying with him.
Well, I love how it calls in episode 4. That moment where he's like, where it's like Vader killed your father. It's like Obi-Wan fully believes that. That wasn't him lying and trying to be like, oh, let's save Luke's feelings. It's like, no, Vader killed Anakin, and it was that thing because that's what
Anakin
Anakin
is
said
dead.
it. He's like, Anakin's not here. I fucking killed
Yeah,
him.
it's-
and like that moment, and Ewan McGregor nailed that where he like sees it and he's like,
It got me
sadness.
that series got me so emotional just seeing the emotional distress from Obi-Wan. of being like PTSD of just like not being able to deal with
Dude,
the fact that his blood brother like
I
ruined
remember-
everything and now like killed all of his friends. Like it's just so gut wrenching.
The episode 2 where like the night sister or whatever her name is, where she's like he's still alive, and like she tells him like Anakin, and he, and like the episode 3 starting.
Oh, you mean the
Reva, I think her
yeah,
name
the
is.
second sister. Or
when and then the next episode like had to wait a week, and you start off in Obi-Wan, it's just his face, sheer like disbelief and terror of like there's no way.
Yeah.
And like finding out, because that's in that same episode, he walks through the fucking village, and you're like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
They nail Vader, because like every time like they just kept Vader just away just a little bit. Then the first time he shows up, it's killing people, being the absolute menace. I'm like, oh fuck, it's so good. I love Obi-Wan. I'm so
Yeah.
glad that hit number 1.
Same.
And who knows, that might change for
the
us. when we see more.
fact, yeah, I mean, just I can hark back to that scene where he just pulls down the ship like it's nothing to him, and just holds it there and just brings it right back down
And then like rips it open.
and rips it open. I mean, it's the closest we're gonna get to the Starkiller bringing down the Star Destroyer, but
Speaking of that, I love in that novel they still do that, but in the games he's like, because it's a video game, it's like, all right, you got to go back and fight more people. In the novel, it's like Starkiller is almost dead by doing that, because it's like that's a fucking feat that
Yeah.
he just pulled, and I'm like, God, I love when they do that, because like to me, the Force should be something that can be like so fucking powerful, you can like completely just annihilate shit.
yeah,
But yeah.
so good.
Anyway, Star Wars games.
Star Wars games.
So, like we said, these are the game series. So, we're probably
And
going to
there's
base.
there's a lot that aren't in here, but we're just going on main ones and
And the ones that
to
we've
ble-
experienced ourselves.
I also want to point out we're probably going to be basing these off of like probably the best of those series, but we'll probably take into account maybe especially like, oh well, this game's great, but this one was bad versus
Yeah.
like in these rankings. But yeah,
I don't think it'll be too difficult, but
probably not.
we'll see. So round 1, we have Jedi Knight versus Republic Commando.
So this is the Jedi Knight.
No discussion.
Yeah, Republic
The
Commando.
the original like Xbox games, Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy, versus Republic Commando, best game of all time.
Republic Commando wins hands down for me.
I'll let y'all have that one.
All right.
Yeah, I love, because this Jedi Knight was what
I played through that so much as a kid. So much.
Jedi Knight was like the precursor to both Force
When you
Unleashed and
lose
for
the fucking brother, the sniper one, brutal. That was the first time I ever felt heartbreak in a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still love the Jedi Knight series, and I definitely agree. Republic Commandos is stellar, especially for being like a first-person shooter in Star Wars, and like for its time, like wasn't it kind of similar to like how Metroid Prime kind of
The first one you land on the planet and you're in like the trenches trying to get into the droid factory.
So, yeah,
and then you have to
it
go up
starts
against the
Geonosis,
B1,
right? Yeah.
yeah, the B1 battle droid, and it like wipes the floor, and you're like, oh shit. All right, number 2, Lego Star Wars versus OG Flight Sim.
Lego Star Wars.
Lego Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, we're with OG Flight Sim, we're talking about like, you know,
Jedi Starfighter, X-Wing, all these, and like just kind of the general pre-Squadrons ones, I guess.
yeah, Lego Star Wars slaps.
Yeah.
Not only that, but like I know we've had our disagreements with Skywalker Saga, but like even then, just taking into account the OG or like complete saga trounces all these, because like that's like there's some.
If I was trapped on a desert island with nothing but a DS Lite, the only game that I would need is Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga.
Yeah, the Lego Star Wars
There's
games
so
are
much fun.
and like as a co-op
Especially,
game,
yes, I was gonna say with co-op,
they are so good.
that was the game where you're like had a friend over, and both of you could be like, actually, this is gonna be a great time if you
And
play
it
that.
also, I understand why they did it in the newer ones, but I kind of like the idea of like you're stuck on the same screen, so you're like, no, fucker, we're going this way,
Yeah.
and like pushing someone into lava.
yeah,
and,
if
like,
you're the player one, you get to control the screen.
I love that. Yeah, Lego Stars for sure.
All right, number 3 is gonna be KOTOR versus Star Wars Pod Racing.
KOTOR,
KOTOR.
stops.
Unfair one.
Very unfair.
And that's KOTOR 1, 2, and the MMO, all of which are like the most heavy lore implications, like all the stuff there, and just being dark fantasy Star Wars.
I will fight tooth and nail on this next one if you guys do not agree with me. I swear to God.
Well, did we add the I guess it is the MMO. or
Yeah,
something.
anything Old Republic games.
Okay, I was
So
gonna
that'd
say
be
because all
1,
of the
2, and
I mean,
MMO.
we've talked about in our video game trailers.
Oh,
about-
those trailers are fucking
are
amazing.
the best game trailers of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then we got number 4, Shadow of the Empire.
I'm gonna
versus
let
Squadrons.
I'm gonna let BJ start because he says if you disagree with me, I swear to God. So BJ, make the case and go.
Shadows of the Empire
Ooh.
was like fucking transcendent. It was a flagship title for the N64 when it was coming out. I still have the game guide for it at my house. Like it's lore heavy, which you didn't expect from a game at that point.
Was this the introduction of Kyle Katarn or?
I think he was in a novel before that, maybe. But yeah, because it ties into that, like the Thrawn trilogy originally. I think, right?
Because I think so. Because Kyle Katarn is pretty much the next Luke Skywalker type character.
Yeah.
Where he's like the new Jedi Knight that you care. Because he starts off not a Jedi Knight. He's just got a blaster and that's it. It wasn't until I think that's when they go Dark Force Rising, and then Dark Force Rising 2 is Jedi Knight, and that's when they start going into he becomes the Jedi.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, Shadows of the Empire. There's a fucking novel based on this that you can read,
Yep.
and it has an audiobook, and yeah, it's awesome. I agree.
So I didn't have an N64, so I only played Squadrons.
I will say for a flight sim,
I love
Squadrons is stellar. I'm with
So
BJ
much.
on this for Shadows, but like Squadrons,
I'm fine. Like I bet if I played it when you guys did, this would be a hands down. But
I mean, if you
I'd
played
like
it,
to talk about Squadrons a little bit.
yeah, no, I think
absolutely, Squadrons is amazing. But I think if you even played it today, you would enjoy it.
Yeah.
is it? No, it's not backwards compatible. They haven't re-released it, right?
No, I mean, with the
Well, yeah,
licensing,
Probably get it. Yeah, you can probably get it
yeah,
on PC.
you can emulate
easy.
it super fucking
Yeah.
easy.
That'd be fun. Let's play.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah,
that'd
I
be
would
a
love
really
that.
good one.
Even if it was just a one, not a full.
I mean,
it's
yeah,
a
just like a
one-off.
start off. Yeah, like just play it. Shadows of the Empire and its novel, because that was I think the first like big media project, because they were like, here's a novel and a video game and then a tie-in comic series.
Yeah, they were like, this is the next trilogy, so to speak. Like that was the big Star Wars arc at the time.
Yeah,
I'm seeing what some future brackets are going to lead to.
this next one is
Wait.
very upsetting.
Wait,
for me.
Rogue Squadrons versus Squadrons.
Rogue Squadron is
Squadrons-
Squadrons is the new one, the
the
EA,
EA
one.
one,
Oh,
the one that sucks if you're not
I'm
in
so
VR.
sorry,
Yeah,
everybody.
Squadrons-
I have to backtrack. I was thinking of Rogue Squadrons. I played that.
I
on
was
the
too
GameCube.
until I looked at the next one. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Okay.
saying the EA
Okay,
flight
new
sim
one was very.
is
It's
very good.
so pretty.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
it's incredibly pretty and cool.
Also, being able to choose, like, do you want to fly for the Republic or fly for the Empire? Pick
Yeah.
it, and like that kind of that's
no,
the story.
it's
I like.
so pretty and cool, but that's all it has going
That
for it.
means
It's
it's
not
pretty cool.
It's I mean, it's a pretty decent like flight sim, and like,
we've made that joke like 6 times on the podcast.
yeah, I know.
but yeah, it's a good one. But yeah, no, this next one, Rogue
it's
Squadrons.
pretty cool.
So I have only played one of the Rogue Squadron games, and that was the one on the GameCube.
Yeah, that's the one I played
Yeah.
And
heavily.
it is
That one carries by itself, though.
Yeah.
probably yeah. I will say
but
though,
it's against the Force Unleashed, which is
Yeah.
so Sam Witwer, who is the voice of Sidious and Maul and a fuck ton of other Star Wars characters that they get him to go.
and he's maybe like other than who's the guy who's now in charge of like all Star Wars?
Dave Filoni.
Other than Dave Filoni,
He corrected Dave Filoni. There was a moment where in Clone Wars
He's the
where
lore guru.
He is, yeah. Sam is the lore. I mean, have you seen like when he won the Star Wars trivia?
Yep.
He's done it multiple times. Like he did like
and it's like obscure. Like, how the fuck do you know that?
like hyper obscure
like,
knowledge.
it's. I mean, he even like actually is like some of the questions. Like
Well,
that's not actually
well,
like
my favorite
a correct
thing-
wording of that.
My favorite thing is when they were all talking and like there was a moment where like Dave
Him
Filoni,
on actually.
yeah, Dave Filoni was like
Him versus Brennan.
That'd be
Dave,
so good.
Dave Filoni was talking about like, oh, Anakin would talk about like to his mom, like, oh, you'd love to meet Padme. Like, I wish you could have met Padme, Mom. You would have loved her. It's like that. And Sam Witwer is kind of like scratched his head going, they did meet. And Filoni's like, what? In episode 1, like they've met.
Yeah, they had dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Filoni's like, and like apparently every other voice actor there was like,
Whoa.
because no one has actually Dave Filoni at that
Yeah.
point. And Sam Witwer's just kind of like,
Sorry, man. I just
hey,
can't
man.
let it, I can't let it fly.
yeah. Force
You're
Unleashed,
fired.
Force Unleashed 1 as its own story. Like we can 2, I still love, but it definitely I wish it got a third game and finished out the trilogy. But like 1 is still my preferred way of this is how the Rebel
I mean,
Alliance
Force
started.
Unleashed is obviously winning, but Rogue Squadrons it was such
Is so good.
so
It
good
is so
for
good.
being what it is.
Speaking of which, just a small little bracket for myself right now. The 3 quintessential PSP games that you have to play are Kingdom Hearts, Birth by Sleep, Crisis Core, and The Force Unleashed.
Which that's the one we got on the Switch version is the PSP, Wii, and PS2 version.
And I fuck with that.
I love. I bought it specifically so I could have that version to play because like I love how like Devil May Cry, God of War esque the 360 version is, but how arcadey the Wii one is actually really fucking cool.
Yeah.
So now we've finished round 1 into round 2. We have next up is going to be the Cal Kestis Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order versus Republic Commando. Now,
I'm going even
so
just on
before, as I said, that Andor is better because it's an adult. It feeds my adult brain, and Kenobi feeds the emotions of like a child brain. It's the opposite. I like want to pick Republic Commando for my child brain emotion, but Cal Kestis, all those games are definitely
Fallen Order,
amazing games.
Yeah.
Fallen Order alone was like, oh fuck.
I mean, the pick is obviously Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, and I'm picking those because it did the same thing that
Mandalorian
Mandalorian did, but for Star Wars games.
Because by that point we had Battlefront 1 and 2, and while Battlefront 2 is good, this was the one where it's like, at this point it had been, 5 years since EA had the license for Star Wars games. We got 2 Battlefront games, and that was it. And like a bunch of mobile shit. And this is now going to be a single player spin-off, no DLC, no microtransactions, no season passes, none of that shit is offline. Here you go.
And it's the Souls formula?
Yeah. A Souls formula that, by the way, also has a selectable difficulty options that you can now like pick and choose, so it's very easy to get into.
I mean, it's the first Souls style game that I like and have played through. So
And that's saying a lot.
yeah, it is.
we were talking about your granted you were super drunk, but with your 7 Sister
We need to
playthrough.
about about that really quick because we haven't mentioned it on the
No,
podcast.
I've been killing it. When like
I was saying
You
he-
have been killing it, but the day that the game came out, I had to work, and I came home, and Matt had already been drinking, and he was like, "Hey
a
man,
lot. I went to get sushi and I had like 2, like pretty much 4 drinks there. Came home, started drinking.
And Matt was already playing it when I walked through the door, so I was like, "Oh fuck yes, I want to see this." So I sit down next to him. He's fighting the Ninth Sister, who is the first boss in the game, and he's dying, 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 and he's dying over and over and over. And then I was like, maybe you should use like the single bladed. I know that, the little better damage output. And he's like, but the double bladed looks so much cooler. And I was like, yeah, but this is gameplay right now. And then
when he told me that, I was like, yeah, the double blade's for crowd control. Why would you use it against a single boss fight? And he's like, and yeah, he told me that, well, Matt thought it was cool, so he wanted to use it. And, I was
then
like,
Matt was like, okay, fuck this. I'm resetting the difficulty. Took it down to Padawan and died 2 more times before winning.
I'm sorry.
Granted, he was drunk,
Really drunk.
and I did see him play more, and he beat what the fuck is his name?
Sephiroth.
Gaiden? Yeah, Sephiroth. Dryden, whatever the fuck, this High Republic dude, silver everything. He beat him in 1 try, and then he was fighting like
I only used 2.
he fought the Wampa that you had fought and died to.
yeah.
He beat it in 1 shot. So
Yeah, I just wasn't trying to fuck with that. I was trying to get to the story because I knew some good shit was coming.
I was literally like BJ was trying to be
He's like
super
trying
nice.
to do something. You're like, you should go that way.
No, he was being really nice. He's like, hey, after I do this, we can like do something else because like I don't want you to just sit here. I'm like, no, keep
Yeah,
going.
Luke
keep
was
going.
like, but I want you to see this next boss fight. And I was like, okay, I'm going to skip a lot of shit just so I can get to that.
Yeah.
And we got to that boss fight.
So I was like picking up people and throwing them into the purple matter just to like kill them instantly.
he found stuff that I didn't find, and I was like, oh fuck, I need to go back.
Yeah, a
So-
lot of the hunter garb was in that dungeon.
Yeah, the Hunter Garb is great. That's probably my favorite so far.
Which dungeon?
It's getting
The
to
temple.
the first temple where you meet the High Republic guy.
the droid.
No, the actual Sith.
The guy that bleeds the crystal.
Yes.
Which also, by the way,
Spoiler alert.
sick. Yeah, sorry, sick as fuck. Seeing it happen because
Yeah.
we've seen it in novels and shit. Seeing
he
him
does
just
it a
hold
lot quicker than I thought it would, and a lot less effort.
Yeah, like he-
like I thought it's like a 15-minute battle of you just going and he just goes.
It's all about it's all.
while he's still like offhandedly talking, he just does it and then puts it
Well,
back in his
apparently
lightsaber
that
I was like,
immediately.
whoa.
Apparently, that's how it goes. It depends on the person. It's all about the anger and the how, like tapping into the
it's
dark
not
side.
like the
That's why
inner
it took,
turmoil of
'cause-
Anakin.
Well, Anakin probably would have taken a while,
like
in that moment.
fucking like 3 hours just fighting.
but like,
That's what happened with Kylo. They did a comic about that where he was like trying to bleed his crystal and the crystal kept winning.
low key, the Kylo comics are the only reason I like that character because they actually write him good, unlike the fucking movies. But no, the bleeding crystal thing is really interesting because it depends on how. And this guy's had what, thousands of years to sit
To
on
stew on this
to
shit?
stew on it. Yeah, and then he finally gets his crystal, and it's like he's gone.
Yeah, he's already made.
That's
the
why
decision.
it's like that.
Yeah.
But
So-
yeah, Cal Kestis game's great.
All right, Lego Star Wars versus
You're
KOTOR.
sure?
Lego.
I know I'm gonna be outvoted for this, but I'm going KOTOR.
Go
I-
Lego.
Lego.
Baby. Lego my Lego.
KOTOR was the first RPG that wasn't besides Oblivion, the first RPG like that I was like, because like Oblivion
It
is
was
like
the first RPG, and don't say Oblivion, and don't say Fallout New Vegas.
no, I played KOTOR before Fall. Like it was Oblivion and then KOTOR, because like KOTOR is Star Wars, and I thought it was gonna be like just an action RPG, but I was like, oh no, it's one of those like kind of, wait and auto attack, and you kind of just it's more strategic. But even then, like I remember loving that game, dude. KOTOR is great, but yeah,
Next one's gonna be interesting. EA Battlefront versus Shadows of the Empire.
Shadows of the Empire.
EA Battlefront.
I'm gonna say it's close for me, but I still have to say Shadows.
Dang.
Again, I think for me,
There's just so many hours. I mean,
you're not wrong.
so many hours I've poured into Battlefront.
I'm also not very into playing online, so that's where I'm coming from.
I mean, it like other than that, Battlefield's the number one multiplayer game I've played. Then probably goes Overwatch. Then is Battlefront.
yeah, nothing holds a candle to Overwatch for me for online stuff, except for maybe Fortnite.
I
now.
think a bigger point is that like, as much as, and again, it's the time that you can look at the times these game came out, but like EA just kind of fumbled the bag with these games because even when the first
but
one came out,
it fumbled it initially, but they were still. I mean, it's built on the DICE engine. They're so pretty and like okay, if we can just get aside from the pay to win in the initial for Battlefront 2,
I'm not counting that in my opinion.
Yeah,
either.
that's.
Well,
I mean, that's like the whole. That's like trying to count like discount Cyberpunk for its horrible launch. It's like
Yeah.
it's still an amazing game for me. I don't count it as well.
I still think even from my personal viewpoint, I had more fun with Shadows of the Empire sitting down and playing through it all the way versus sitting down because Battlefront.
Did you play the story mode in Battlefront 2?
It was fine.
Yeah, I kind of got into it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was fine.
There was a couple really good things.
oh no, there was some sick
like all
shit.
the stuff with Luke was
Yeah.
so canonically Luke. It was great.
Yeah,
When he
before
goes with the
before
guy-
Disney fucked him over.
Yeah, that was more Luke than
Anything
Mandalorian
else,
Luke.
Yeah.
I hate. Oh man, there's another
Dude,
thing.
he literally goes in and the guy's like, "Yeah, I'm here. The Emperor's telling me to destroy all this stuff." He's like, "Okay," and he saves his life. And he's like, "I just want this one thing, which is the holocron." And he's like, "No, that's not gonna happen." He's like, "Dude, like, are you sure?"
Yeah, like let's go.
Let's go. Like I say, like,
Come
are you
on,
sure
dude.
you want to do this? And it's anyways. I love that. There's some fun parts in it, and it feeds into the Mandalorian with the not Bo. Who's the comedian that was in season 2?
Oh, yeah, Bo Burnham.
Bo. Yeah.
Bo Burnham was.
No, not Bo Burnham.
It was
No, Bo Burnham's the guy who plays on the piano.
Oh yeah, you're right. Fuck.
Oh,
Starts with there's some B's in there.
Bill
Bill Burr.
Bill Burr.
Bill Burr. Yeah.
Bill Burr.
F is for family.
Because he talks about Operation, what is it called? Like,
Yeah, him and Cara Dune were a part of that operation.
yeah, that killed, and you actually get to see that operation in the story for Battlefront 2, which is sick. You're literally trying to escape while the Empire's killing all of its own people, and I don't know. I like that they interconnected that.
Oh no, yeah. I thought the story mode was pretty good, but I definitely was kind of like
And it's hard to do a story mode in a game that's a multiplayer game,
not
but
necessarily Halo.
yeah, but Halo's a single player game before multiplayer. I
No,
think.
multiplayer. It was multiplayer LAN parties. It started the LAN party. The reason
Yeah,
you
but
have
to
the thing.
me,
Yeah, but the reason that people got into Halo was to play it by themselves.
yes.
I guess yes.
And then they would be like, "Oh, I want to play this game like with other people."
But like
and
I remember,
what spurred
but that's the
LAN.
thing. When Battlefront 1 came out, the big thing was where the fuck is the story mode? I remember that trended on Twitter. John Boyega
because
got into
people
that shit.
all
I still
wanted-
played the shit out of it when
Yeah.
it came out.
I'm not saying it was bad, but like I remember that being the biggest point of contention with the first one. Was like, where the fuck is the story mode? Why'd you launch this without a single player like options?
Well, because people just wanted galactic conflict or conquest.
Facts.
Yeah. All right. Next
Speaking
one.
of which, the next cell.
OG Battlefront versus Force Unleashed.
Now this is OG Battlefront, which is Battlefront 1, 2, and the two PSP games.
Yeah, I forgot about
Yeah,
those.
2 PSP games, and then you have Force Unleashed 1, 2, and its other versions.
I'm going OG Battlefront.
I am going to go with Force Unleashed because I like both of those games, and there's one of those OG Battlefront games that I like, and that's 2. Haven't played the original, but that's where I'm coming from.
I will agree.
And in
Because-
Force Unleashed, you can play as all the characters in Battlefront 2.
That is true.
And more.
I'm with them. We're Force Unleashed. I'll talk about it a lot. Sam Witwer, Starkiller was one of my favorite characters growing up as a kid. Granted, that was the edgy, like, oh, dude, he's so fucking cool. He's got both dark side and light side. Oh, whatever, you know.
He
But, like,
holds his blades the wrong way, and that's cool.
yeah, he's the reverse grip style.
That was the spin-off character's, like, trump card in
Yeah.
that day. Like,
I mean, I find it very funny that both of Anakin's apprentices reverse grip, Ahsoka
Yeah.
and Starkiller. So I wonder if that's just Anakin's like.
well,
hey,
it's probably good because you can't stab kids that way.
Yep.
that is true.
All right. So we got semifinals. Is going to be Cal Kestis games versus Lego Star Wars.
This one is hard.
It's very hard.
I'm going Cal Kestis.
Fuck.
If there was a Lego Fallen Order,
Yeah.
I'd be all over that. But there's not.
Give me a Lego Fallen Order with the combat and gameplay of
So you're
Skywalker
I just
Saga.
want. I know we're backtracking. So you played more Force Unleashed than Battlefront.
Not that I've played more. Well, I mean, as far as quantity of games goes, yes. I mean, I did play those 2 PSP Battlefront games, and they are pretty bad.
Yeah.
They did port 2 to the
you
PSP,
didn't-
and that was a great port.
I mean, to
but-
me, that's why it's really hard for me to not pick any of the Battlefronts because of all the time that I put into both the OG and the EA.
See,
Yeah.
my thing is like, I can put in hundreds of hours in something, like, fucking, we did Battlefront, where it's like Battlefront 2. I put in hundreds of hours. That's like the game I always played with friends at like going to houses.
It would be weeks at a time where I would just be on one match of Galactic
Yeah.
Conquest every time I turn on my PSP.
And it's like if all of that, I would still rather sit with my small 10-hour run of Force Unleashed for the first time again than playing all those hundreds of hours of Battlefront. To me, quantifying time has no gauge on my enjoyment of
I
a
mean,
game.
I understand that, and that definitely is usually the thing. Usually, like, I'll go like quality versus quantity, but it's hard to disregard the amount of quantity that I.
I mean,
play
no,
these
yeah,
games.
that definitely will help your opinion of a game because if it's not fun, you're not going to keep going back to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say that I have gone back to the Force Unleashed more than I've gone back to Battlefront 2.
Okay. See, that's what I'm curious
Yeah.
about. Okay, so
Yeah,
I'll pull
Cal
up my
Kestis
Vita.
versus Lego.
I'm gonna give it.
It's really
to-
between you two.
I'll give it to the Jedi games. I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
What you said before, how it pretty much saved Star Wars gaming. Also, again, it's like that Shadows of the Empire style, where it's like, here's this new thing. It's gonna be its own thing. And granted, the novel's kind of shit, but like the fact that they're willing to give it a side novel, they're willing to go more into Cameron Monaghan as a character, and hopefully put him in a live action something soon. I'm just saying.
And when you think about it, the Lego games are Lego games. They're not Star Wars games because Lego games all very much play the same way. I was a big fan of the Lego Batman series as well, and they same shit.
Lego
Yeah.
Batman 2 was like the shit.
Honestly,
Batman
even
fucking slaps.
the Lego Hobbit games were kind of fun.
Yeah, I
Lego,
mean,
all of them.
you can't go wrong with a Lego game, really.
Lego Indiana Jones is great. I love Lego's Pirates of the Caribbean. That shit was fun too.
I don't even remember that one, but I
Yeah.
would love to play it.
They're all fun. And like, here's the thing though: voice acting versus mumble.
Mumble for sure.
Yeah,
Mumble all the way.
When I played Skywalker Saga, I did one run through of the voice acting, and then I immediately played it again and just got mumble.
My favorite moment from Lego Star Wars still is when Padme is giving birth and Obi-Wan is holding Luke, and then off screen you hear the Lego brick break sound.
She dies.
Yeah.
No, the one too is when Vader holds up the picture, and it's like him and Luke like best
it's
dad in
my
the
boy.
world. Yeah, and Luke's like, oh, he's like, oh, so good.
All right, the other in the semifinals is going to be Shadows of the Empire versus Force Unleashed.
I'm gonna say Force Unleashed.
I'm going to say Force as well.
Yeah, I'll go Forced. I'm a primarily action game fan, so the fact that these pretty much took that Devil May Cry, God of War style combo heavy action stuff was so fun for me.
Remake Shadows of the Empire like they did Doom 2016.
Oh my gosh, yes, that'd be so sick. Fuck, when are we gonna get that remake? Honestly, fuck KOTOR remake. Give me the Shadow of the Empire remake like that.
That'd be fire.
It has to be done by id. Just
Yeah,
get id to do it.
absolutely.
Now that EA doesn't have a stranglehold on that license, just start handing them out.
Give it to Bethesda.
Dude, a fucking Bethesda big Star Wars RPG would be fucking amazing.
But you can only choose Ewok as a race, and it's all on Endor. Which apparently is the most biologically diverse planet in the galaxy.
Also, apparently they're like one of the most broken classes in Battlefront 2 when you do the Ewok shit. They're
so
fucking
good.
terrifying.
Well, other than the Dark Troopers in Battlefront 2, oh my gosh, I'd wipe
apparently
the floor.
Ewoks, because they're so small, they're like actually hard to hit.
They are.
But they have like stellar range.
Dude, I played the. Did you play the
Ewok hunting like thing.
Ewok hunt is terrifying.
It's BJ. It's set at night on Endor, and if you play as the stormtroopers, you get flashlights. But then the Ewoks just have full range of vision,
Like dark vision?
Yes,
Yes.
and they're running around in the dark.
and so when you kill an
murdering-
Ewok, you turn into a stormtrooper, and then your whole thing is just to survive the night.
Yeah.
And you have to wait until like the ship comes, and then you have to get to the ship to exfil.
it's like legitimately kind of terrifying.
Yeah, it's so good. And then for the finals, we got the Cal Kestis games
I
versus Force Unleashed.
Did not expect these two to be the top dogs. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't expect Force Unleashed
I
to
would
go
kill to see that battle happen in something.
Star Killer versus Cal.
Killer versus
Star Killer's
Cal.
Star Killer-
wiping the floor.
Yeah, let's be real.
Yeah, but
Well, we don't know. We
plot
haven't, we
armor.
haven't seen
It
the end of.
depends on what the title of the game is.
We haven't seen the end of. See, that's actually something I wanted to bring up. Could you imagine if like that's what they do to bring Starkiller into canon? Is again Vader's secret apprentice. No one knew about him.
What if it was Star Killer in the back to tank?
I was just about to say that.
God, dude, I would
That'd be
have
so tight.
lost my shit. Like if there was a point, I don't care if they even just do like a DLC, like oh, it's a secret boss fight and you just see Starkiller.
Or Cal goes through that fucking rift and it's an alternate story, and then he's in the Force Unleashed universe.
Oh, dude, I would love to see that. Now here though, taking Force Unleashed. So again, to preface, we have not beaten Survivor, so our opinions are
But Survivor's just better.
so far. Yes, I don't know where the story lands. I do know, as much as I love Force Unleashed 2, its story kind of suffers.
Yeah.
Like it's not nearly as good as the first one. A lot of the things they bring up, like with clones and like all that, I'm like, okay,
That is true. As a complete package that I can see so far, Cal is shaping up to be the winner here.
yeah, and it's again,
And I think it's
if I'm
funny and ironic that they're both duology games
so far, yeah,
so far.
from what I can tell, someone told me that this one could lead to a third, which I'm all for.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Especially if because I don't know where it goes now, but this whole Tanalor bit would explain, if it's really a hidden thing, it would explain where the fuck he's been
Yeah.
for all this and like what that means for the next game. But I will have to give it to the Fallen Order games because
Yeah.
again, as so far, again, I haven't beaten Survivor. This might be a whole thing later. Maybe it shits the bed at the end of the game. I don't know yet. But Force Unleashed 1 versus Fallen Order, I would give it to Fallen Order because, man, I'm going to be honest. The boss fights are better. like fighting Second Sister 3 times and seeing your progression each time was stellar. The fucking we bring up how terrifying Darth Vader is. He does not have a health bar. Your only option is fucking run
or die.
Yeah, and it's like, fuck. Like the fact in Force Unleashed you can beat Vader. To me is like, yeah, it's fun,
You
but
can
like
beat Vader,
I don't,
Luke, Leia.
Yeah. I don't count the DLC. That's what if fan fiction. But like the fact that you can like beat Vader to an inch of his life and still lose is to me not as cool because like that just makes Starkiller this OP power fantasy character, which is what he is. But it's the idea that in this new canon, Cal's not beating Vader. It's not happening. I don't care how powerful Cal gets. He's not winning. Yeah. And I like that they kept that where it's like, no, Vader's the guy. He kills the Second Sister right in front of them. We think he kills Seer, and she somehow survives, I guess. But like, it's this thing where it's like, I remember that feeling of like, it's just me. Like I remember playing Fallen Order and going, how the fuck am I getting out of this alive? Like I fully thought Cal was gonna die.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, this is how this journey ends. Cal's dying to Vader, and they escape, and I'm like, oh thank God. Because like, yeah, I love also the characters, the crew of the Mantis. Look, I love Proxy and Force Unleashed, but like, I'll take Grease and BD1 and Marin over Juno.
BD1's a great robot.
Yeah.
Over Juno and Proxy, I'll take the rest of these guys.
There's more personality in the Bogling than there is in a lot of characters.
True.
And like, and even in Force Unleashed 2, like Juno goes from this kind of badass pilot to being like the damsel in distress character that it's all Starkiller's got to go find his girlfriend again and just do all that. So yeah, Cal Kestis for sure. Fallen Order. What's our bronze matchup?
Our bronze matchup, hold on, is going to be Lego Star Wars versus Shadows of the Empire.
I'll go Lego Star Wars for this one.
I'll go Lego.
I'll go Lego as well.
I've had a lot of love for these games, and as much as I do love Shadows of the Empire, it's kind of that opposite of what I said, where it's like, oh yeah, time spent playing these games doesn't equate to this, but like the time I spent playing Lego Star Wars was always with somebody.
Yeah,
like it was always like playing through, trying to get all the mini kits, like doing all this stuff an extra bit, and I love those games. And Shadows of the Empire is a great FPS game to play, but yeah.
So
gets that
ends the game bracket, which leaves Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order as number 1. Force Unleashed as number 2, and in third place, Lego Star Wars, which I'm pretty happy about
good.
that.
Yeah, I'm happy about that.
I want to go back in
Not
this.
as contemptuous as our last bracket.
No. I do want to go back and just talk, again, Republic Commandos and KOTOR I thought would go further. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I did too.
And
I mean, to me, yeah, Republic Commandos, I could have seen go all the way.
Yeah.
I if you had asked me, I probably would have brought KOTOR all the way. I fucking love, like, that one moment in KOTOR, I'm not going to spoil it because there's a remake coming out, but the big twist of KOTOR had me, like put the controller down, and I'm just, like, sitting on my chair, just like, what the fuck? Like, I love...
Have either of you played the MMO?
I've started
I don't
it.
fuck with MMOs.
Yeah.
I fuck with Xenoblade, which is made to be like a single player MMO.
To be fair, you can play Old Republic as a single player MMO because it's
you can play up to Endwalker for free.
I know. Well, like I think it because it's straight. It's a single, like the story of Old Republic is a single player BioWare RPG. But then all the extra like bits and like dungeons and stuff, that's where the MMO shit comes in. But you can pretty much play it by yourself. I'm pretty sure. So I'm and it. You can get it to run on Steam Deck. So I might give it a shot again.
Yeah.
I've beaten the first main game and then the first expansion, which was like the Hutt Cartel. That's what I've done so far. I've not gone through Shadow of Revan. I've not gone through the rest of them. But yeah.
Well,
this is a good.
happy Star Wars Day, and
May the 4th be with you, and Revenge of the 5th.
that's right.
The two ones there. Yeah. Is there anything else you guys really want to touch on Star Wars? I know, like, I mean, we kind of said it with the previous ones. Are there any games you want to see?
Revenge of the 6th.
Is it Revenge of the 6th or Revenge of the 5th? Because it's May the 4th be with you, then you go to 5th immediately.
Yeah, but it makes more sense to be
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sixth because it's
Sith.
and it's the sixth
But
movie.
Sith.
They give you a
5th.
day for mourning, or I guess, a day of silence.
A day of silence for
The Empire 5's back.
the Empire 5.
Okay, here's another one. If we go to arcs, do we like Empire versus Rebellion, Republic versus the Galactic?
Republic versus the droid arm, the
Galactic?
No, it's the I almost said correlation. The Separatists.
Separatists.
Republic versus Separatists, or First Order versus Resistance.
That one is bottom tier.
Yep. I think I'd go Clone versus.
I think that's the
Republic,
best,
Republic era
fight. Like the fact that it's all out war.
Yeah.
between the
It's
two.
a galactic war. Like Empire and Rebellion is like
The
guerrilla
Empire
warfare.
versus the Rebellion is better for a story because it's like it's a losing battle that they're fighting and they somehow fucking win it. But there's so much good shit with the clones versus the droids.
Dude, even in the Clone Wars, like the fact that they humanize some of the clones, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it's good.
And then for asshole Ponkrell, dude, that destroyed me when Ponkrell was like, I'm just gonna send all these guys to fight each other, and then just kills everybody. And then he like jumps out of the window with his two double-bladed lightsabers. And he's like, woof, woof, woof. Brutal.
I love also like the thing. Like, what was the Kit Fisto episode where he goes to Grievous's like? Again, Clone Wars brings us all these characters. Kit Fisto. We get Mace Windu centric episodes. Plo Koon. Like, there's so many cool things.
Yadimundi.
Ki-Adi-Mundi.
Who is the only Jedi in that era to have a wife and has
Wives.
fucked? And
Well,
it's a real like fuck you to everybody else,
Well, it's-
especially Anakin.
It's his reason is because he's in his what
His
is it?
species is rare; they're like dying.
Like they're either dying or it's like the birth rate is so low. Like there's a reason where it's like you get he has
Like his job is just populate.
it's procreate, yeah. It's literally to procreate. And so I don't he probably is one of those that like no attachments. It's his duty as
Nah,
a
he can't-
whatever.
I-
Yeah.
Nah, he's
Ki-Adi
probably-
Mundi said, "Come and go."
Oh, he said shoot and scoot. No, it's that I don't know. That's actually what I'm really hoping for Survivor, because what I loved about Fallen Order is the start of like they destroyed the holocron, and it's like, all right, the Jedi Order can't be what it was, and we're starting to see that with like I got to the point where you got the blaster stance, and Cal just goes, my master always like forbid this, like this is not what I'm supposed to do, and like Bode's like, what order? They're not around. Like we're fighting a losing battle against the Empire. We need everything we can get. And I'm like, I'm really hoping that's where Survivor goes, where it's like, forget the order. Like I need they were not right.
Yeah.
I am the Jedi survivor.
Dude,
They said that line. Oh fuck. There was literally
They've said it like 18
yeah.
times.
They've
so
said
far.
Jedi Survivor, and I'm like, come on. Like that's almost like Cal turning to Seer and go, we are Jedis of a fallen order. And it's like, fuck.
dude,
We
I
really
would be-
are the Republic Commandos.
Dude, you could probably do.
Revan, we are the Knights of the Old
We
Republic.
were talking about remakes of games, and I obviously would want a remake of Republic Commandos. But I was just thinking, now that I'm trying to get into turn-based combat, a turn-based Republic Commandos that was like a strategy where you
Strategy game,
Like a
like an
fucking-
XCOM.
Dude,
Yes,
that would
an
be
XCOM
fire.
Star Wars game would be
Yes,
so
because
good.
you have to place one guy, and then you have another guy like higher up as the sniper. The demo. Yes, that would be dope
love
as
that.
fuck.
That would be amazing.
So
I'm excited for the KOTOR remake, and I really hope they nail it. I know all the leaks and stuff of that have said it's going to be more action oriented, so it's not going to be the strategic kind of, auto attacking and hotkey style gameplay. But I really hope they nail it with that, because like KOTOR is so good of a story. Even if they have to put it in the new canon, I don't care. Just like keep the story, like keep that twist, keep the characters the way they are. That's what I want from that. I also I'm very excited to see what this the Division devs are making a Star Wars game. What
what's that
theirs
one
is gonna
that's
be.
coming out? That's like the
Eclipse.
Yes.
That from David Cage and his group, which apparently is going through complete awful shit right now because they have no idea, because it's supposed to be the Quantic Dream's first like open world RPG, and it's not going too well because no one on that team knows how to make an open world RPG.
Yeah.
So they've been hiring people. People are leaving the production. No one likes to work under David Cage, so like I don't think that's coming out anytime soon. But I'm gonna be honest. I want them to do a Battlefront 3. I don't think they will, but I do want them to.
Yeah, 100%.
Like,
I think it would do so well if it was just off the same new like Battlefield.
Just use Battlefront 2 and just add more shit.
Yeah,
the problem is they gave up. They stopped supporting it, but like you could have just kept it going.
yeah.
And the thing is, I think that's wise because the dev team EA kind of realized we can't monetize this game anymore, but we have to fix our mistake. So they kept giving away shit for free. All the characters just added into the game. You didn't have to buy anything. Like it was just that.
If they went into it with that mindset, they would make so much more money, and they're too fucking dumb to realize that.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? Maybe with Survivor, because this is again another single player RPG. Your only DLC is the deluxe upgrade, but like most places have that. So far, there's no like. And Fallen Order got that free upgrade where it was like, here's your challenge room, here's all this stuff. We didn't make you pay for this.
Still waiting on Star Wars Hunters.
That's that's supposed to be like a fucking what? Like a almost like an Overwatch style kind of like hero shooter.
Yeah, and if it had come out, then maybe I'd be playing the shit out of it right now, but it never did, and it probably never will.
All I know is it's supposed to run on the Switch, and I'm just like, yeah, good fucking luck, buddy.
Overwatch ran pretty well on the Switch.
You know what isn't gonna run on the Switch? Marvel's Midnight Suns. Apparently that got canceled.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. The only good Switch port in the last couple years has been Automata.
Honestly, shout out to was it Big Red Button or Panic Button who did fucking
Yeah,
WoW.
Panic Button does like miracle ports on Switch.
They put Doom and Doom Eternal there, Witcher 3.
and Warframe.
It's incredible that Witcher 3 runs as well as it does.
Yeah.
Incredible. I think that's the most
And it's
impressive. port.
it's all of the DLC. It's
Yeah,
not
it's
just
so
like
impressive.
That's the place that I put the most time into The Witcher.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, playing that shit portably, like I might run through it on the Steam Deck, but I also want to try the next gen upgrade on my Series
It is
X.
verified. So that's
Yeah.
nice.
Next gen update is incredible. And they've added a bunch of quality of life stuff too, not just graphics, which I love.
If Witcher 3 is so good, why is there no Witcher 1 and 2?
The fact that we're getting a Witcher remake of the first one, I'm actually excited for because hopefully it remake that and then just give us an HD like upgrade of 2.
2, yeah.
Because 2 still is pretty decent.
I'd be fine with the freaking old engine that Witcher 3 is on. Just put one on
Yeah.
that.
It's not broke. Why fix it?
Exactly.
They're gonna
Especially with now that they can do like updated texture packs in 60 frames per second.
they're
Give me
doing
a bounty hunter game from CD Projekt Red in the Witcher engine.
Yeah.
honestly, as much as I know, like, oh, they're not canon, they wouldn't do it. Revive those old games you had that were canceled. The Darth Maul game,
The Boba Fett game.
Boba Fett game, finish Force Unleashed. Like, and I know it's never coming out, but like, do a KOTOR 3, even though you're doing the remake. But like, just revive the stuff you killed. Do just give us this. Again, another thing with those Legends stuff. Brand shit as Legends. Like, do a video game that is set in the Legends universe that deals with Luke Skywalker and Han. Like, I don't care. Like, just do something where it's like, because that's my biggest gripe with some Star Wars stuff is they're like, well, everything has to be canon. I'm like, no, it doesn't. You can have people like, it's my favorite thing with DC right now is they have the Black Label stuff where they just go, hey, do you have this cool idea for this character? Like, yeah, write it. It doesn't have to be canon. It doesn't have to even relate to the rest
There's
of the DC
so
universe.
much like newer
just fucking
stuff
do it.
that like if you did remake Republic Commandos that you could add in that would add like canon like stuff like
Yeah.
droid commandos, like all sorts of shit. that-
You could literally do like, here's the Republic Commandos, and like you team up with Rex, you team up with Cody's team, the Bad Batch shows up. You could do all this shit during the Clone Wars,
Yeah.
and have it like be this like elite team doing their thing. There's Republic Commando novels, which apparently are really good. I want to read those, but yeah, I would love to see them actually.
XCOM would be honestly so good.
Yeah, I really like that idea.
XCOM, I don't know how it would work, but like an actual like kind of turn-based RPG one, not just the XCOM style, but like the Live Alive or Final Fantasy or Chrono Trigger style of just like, here, it's your typical turn-based game, but it's Star Wars. I don't know. I think that'd be fun. I would love to see. Yeah, give me a fucking bounty hunter game or like a stealth game somehow. I don't know how you do it, but like. Or hey, yeah, fucking that'd be your Darth Maul game. It's like an action game, but there's a lot of stealth involved where he's like hunting down.
Like Raiden.
Yeah, yeah. Metal Gear Rising, but,
GR.
Metal Gear Rising, but Darth Maul.
Rising, yeah.
Get the same fucking soundtrack.
Of course, yeah. It starts with John Williams, like Star Wars, and all of a sudden it's just like. Honestly, yeah. Also, go out of the comfort zone.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I love Andor soundtrack so far because it's very different. Do some of that stuff too. Add different soundtracks to these. Like, I love John Williams' score, but like give me stuff that still feels
You
Star
can't
Wars.
tell me that all those clone troopers weren't listening to like heavy metal on their way to battle.
Cal was listening to like Nordic heavy metal shit. So
Yeah.
obviously,
The I think it's the Who. I think HU. That's
yeah, the
name.
HU who.
Yeah.
or like I don't know, like
Oh, no, no,
like
bit.
listening to like I don't know, it would be like Biggie, you know, like the clone.
I'm gonna be honest,
listening to like Biggie.
I
or
know.
something.
I know damn well.
Like-
I know y'all don't like the Bad Batch, but they for
She
sure
called me
listen.
Mr. Boom Buster.
I know damn well the Bad Batch is playing like some fucking old school gangster rap.
Yeah.
Especially the big guy with all the explosions. He's like doing push-ups and stuff. He's just got that shit playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The clones definitely were playing some like weird industrial shit,
Mm-hmm.
and like all the Jedi are just like, this is music nowadays. Like hell yeah, Commander.
Yeah. Well,
Obi-Wan listens to Fleetwood Mac exclusively.
and if you don't love me now,
Yeah, no, that checks out.
then you'll never
Anakin is
love
Linkin
me
Park.
again.
Oh yeah, Anakin is 100% Linkin Park. He's like, I just really feel with these lyrics.
What I've done.
As he's killing children.
Yeah. I bleed it out.
Bleeding a lot of shit out. Oh, no, they cauterized
Yeah,
the wounds. so never mind.
cauterize the wounds. Yeah.
That is again so fucking interesting. Where it's like, because like imagine, because like in
Maul
movies,
getting cut in half and none of his guts falling out, and that's how he survives.
well, like because think about it, like in a lot of movies, like a lot of blood would lead to like a rated R thing. The fact that Star Wars can get away with that by just being like, well, the wound's cauterized, so it's not gonna bleed.
Yeah.
And you're just like, all right, so we can cut limbs off and do all sorts of shit and not get rated R.
Blasters just burn you.
Yeah.
I
Like
don't care. I still want to see it. I know the Mandalorians used bullets for a while because of the Jedi.
True.
Dude, that's the fucking craziest thing in like Old Republic shit where it's like,
Is it?
yeah, the Jedi can like deflect lasers, so we're gonna use shit that like,
Did I tell you I recently found out that Earth did exist in Star Wars?
yes. Isn't that Legends continuity or is
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
It's gotta be.
Because humanity originated from Earth, and then they pretty much all abandoned it for these more advanced planets. And then some like planet jackers took it outside the outer rim, so nobody can even get to Earth anymore.
Dang.
Yeah. Star Wars is
Great.
It's great. I love it. I'm very interested in some of the future. I'm excited for the Ahsoka show. Whatever Taika Waititi's doing with his Star Wars movie, I'm interested in that because if it's anything like his movies, not Thor.
Taika did a couple episodes on Mandalorian.
Yes, he did some of the Mandalorian. He also did Jojo Rabbit. The first Thor Ragnarok.
If he
was
had
good.
directed Solo the way
That
that he
actually
did
would've-
Guardians of the Galaxy, it would have been
way better.
way higher on the list.
Yeah. Well,
I'm also excited for Acolyte because we're actually gonna get a Sith main character for fucking once.
Yeah.
And hopefully they don't do the, well, she's going to turn to the good side. No, have her be bad. Keep
Bad
that shit.
bitches. Oh.
Bad bitches. The only thing that I like.
well,
Yeah, guys.
good episode. We love Star Wars.
This is definitely less less hostile than I
Yeah,
thought it would be.
our views lie more closely than I imagined.
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
good.
the video game one, that was the
something
whole
else.
thing.
We thank you for listening. Check out our 100th episode, our MTAC video. Throw those stars up, 5 stars on our Spotify. That really helps us. And
Give us a sub on YouTube because that's the only place you'll be able to see the video for MTAC and the Kyle McCarley interview.
and our 100th episode, which we're putting in video and audio form, so you can hear it both.
We're not just going to abandon the Spotify.
Nah.
No. So thank you for listening, and as always,
Take it sleazy.
Take it sleazy.
Roger, Roger.